Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
Put the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Watch us down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire!
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 gets 3 with the primal rage!
Experience tranquility.
Hello everybody and welcome. It's nice to meet you, but it's even better to meet me. It's McMissile casting aside along the side this beautiful match of Ace High vs Geometric is Bethcon 2. Holy guacamole, we've got one heck of a banger, dude. These playoffs are getting pretty intense here, especially when you look at the little bracket over reaching up here for these semis.
Yeah, definitely. Geometric is now the highest ranked team, highest seeded team left in the tournament after Flashbacks fell to Narwhal last week. So it's really anybody's game. It's going to be a fun matchup between these two teams, just kind of seeing what they pull out and what they do here. So I'm really excited to see where we go.
Yeah, really, anything could happen, especially when it comes down to this first point. You can play so many maps, and when you've got like such a roster specifically for Ace High, who've got a couple nominees for, I believe, the All-Star.
Actual All-Stars. Nominees are all done and through, so they have 3 All-Stars on their team. We've got Vex on DPS, Nova on tank, and Hypno on support for Ace High, who are all in the All-Stars running. Geometric, though, is no slouch either. They do have an All-Star of their own with Tilted Waffle on DPS. So a couple of star-studded teams here. Sure, it's going to be a super exciting match as we head into it.
Oh yeah, and All-Star isn't just a player; it's the team they represent. And man, there's gonna be some lots of beef in this match. If you're a vegetarian, I mean, there's the door. But heading into this, I mean, oh my.
Yeah, definitely. And like I mentioned, both of these teams have met up before. They both played each other in our very first week of Overwatch 2 back in Stage 2, Round 1. It was a knockdown drag-out match during that as well, with Geometric just barely squeaking out the lead or the win there, 3-2 over Ace High. Both teams were down a few players though. I haven't been able to look and see whether they have their full squads tonight, but I'm sure that both teams are looking either to establish their dominance or to seek revenge for that loss as well.
Oh yeah, especially when it's coming so far. I mean, these teams probably had so many adaptations, played against a lot of different people, saw a lot of different styles you can do. I mean, plus also a new patch coming in, which is very different from how it's began. We're seeing a lot more, maybe some Doomfist plays heading into this, maybe some more mobile tanks in general. There's a lot enabled with the kind of room you can now take.
Yeah, and I feel like with this new patch, it's really anybody's game, right? We have never seen, or at least not that well, actually, no, because it's Overwatch 2, we've never seen a Doom tank meta. Like, what does that even look like? What are these teams even going to do with that? And if it's not Doom, it's Roadhog? Like, that is the strangest combination of tanks ever. So it's going to be interesting for us to see whether these teams decide to go with that, with the presumed meta picks of both of those, or whether they stick with what's comfortable and stick with what they know and maybe to some more traditional.
Absolutely, heading into this, not exactly knowing which map we're going to play either. It is going to be Control, but so with that, I mean, each map of a Control point, no matter the map, it's going to be very, very different from how you can play it. You can play a more kind of tank kind of style where you're very mobile. Something more so of a dive, I guess, would be kind of an encouragement in this meta. However, there can be a lot more kind of a reflexivity now heading into this now with some of the changes in DPS. DPS don't necessarily just have to 1v1 each other. They can go after supports with a lot more support from the rest of their team, and maybe you don't go in and die in anymore as easily.
Yeah, definitely. And it sounds like we are going to Nepal for our first map. So very much like you mentioned, it's one of those maps where each point can give you something a little bit different. Love the one that has the kind of opening in the side. I can't quite remember. Sanctum? I think it's Sanctum is the one with the hole in the floor. That one's That one can be a super fun one for the Doom Hog sort of meta that we have going on here, just because there's so many chances for environmental kills. So if we go there, I'm really hoping we see that, just because it always makes for something fun to watch.
Absolutely, playing around those darn corners, especially some Orissas too. I mean, just like, oh, some flashbacks of the Overwatch League, XQC pulling in Orisa pull and they all fall off that side. And playing around that environment is absolutely detrimental for Nepal. It looks like, although we are going to be heading out to Shrine, I believe, so something not with as many environmentals, but with a lot of, I mean, environment to play around. You've got a 4 square in the corner. You basically have any area of the map that you can really contest for and get away with a lot. Looks like we're going to be, oh man, ASI going to be running a bit more hog pick. We're looking for some more individual plays, and then Geometric, something a bit more wide angle, however, a lot of ground to cover with an Echo and a Winston. Yeah,
definitely. Geometric looking to play a little bit more of a sort of coordinated dive comp, maybe with the Sojourn, Winston, Reaper combo. Ace High maybe looking for a little bit more individual play, a little bit more individual picks. Both teams still sticking on that Lucio Kiriko. Very, very strong last meta. Not a lot of huge healing output, so maybe Ace High has a slight advantage with Turd having that self-healing here. But as I say that, we are approaching first fight here.
Yeah, and already Turd and the rest of the squad is on that point. They're trying to hold the kind of advantage, which makes it very hard for Geometric to really just dive onto them. And we can already see it looks like a hook is used, and that's the opening for Nova to dive in on that backline. Looks like they're going to kind of sandwich Turd. A lot of members of Ace High falling low, specifically Tilted Waffle and Jin, their DPS over there. Looks like a Bell is going to be forced, though. Still in the middle of this fight, looking for any kind of picks to happen. Looks like it's just abilities being used, but Vex finds a beautiful little Reaper diff onto Jin.
Yeah, Vex, Skep, Vex all popping off in the kill feed as Blue Geometric really kind of makes their establishes themselves here. I tried to say 3 different phrases at once. But Geometric solidly takes that first point. They've got a couple of good ults coming up in their pocket, Nova with the Primal Rage and Vig with the Kitsune Rush. Tilted Waffle, though, the all-star candidate for Ace High, or one of the all-stars for Ace High, does have 73% to their ult too, which can be a huge game changer in this.
Yeah, I mean, 3 phrases, I mean, 3 picks for Vex that fight. It looks like they're not going to stop there. I mean, the momentum now gained from that first fight lets them set up on that high ground, and now, until Swaffle, although only going to gain about 10 to that percentage to a freaking overclock, now Sep's going to be kind of taking the lead of that, and now in this scenario, because of how fast they won that fight, Geometric are going to be coming up on ultimates just before Ace High, so they have an aggression they can press, especially with this point control, and now they're reaching up 40%. I mean, it's kind of looking like a scary ultimate fight for next fight.
Yeah, interestingly, looking at it, I think Tilted Waffle's actually a player for Geometric, so the teams might be switched. But that said, lots of ults coming up here. The blue team definitely has a bunch in their pocket with all 5 coming online. The red team is going to have to really work to take this point.
Yeah, and I mean, they already found a nice little Sojourn diff on the Tilted Waffle. That's ginormous considering the ultimates. And here is those little ultimates falling out. Some a fantastic little Winston stop gets Shin off the environment. But only 2 ultimates used for Geometric. That's ginormous. And you force out a beat from Wooly. I mean, now, both teams coming up with, well, Ace High has 4 ults, which is higher than Geometric, so they do kind of have an advantage there. But so far, Ace High have been really, Geometric have been really, really strong on this point.
Yeah, definitely. Geometric, Ace High is holding the point. I think the names were swapped and they just swapped them back. But we got a Kitsune Rush coming in here from Geometric.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. You're going to use that Bell early, but you do kind of have this advantage. You're kind of pressing with this, and looks like Jin is going to take that to the maximum. However, it doesn't get too much value. Does find Sep, though. That is going to be a major source of damage, and looks like Turd's going to make a name for that. And 3 picks down, I mean, you are going to be looking to flip this point here. It looks like some ult charge maybe gained from Nova just trying to stall that with that Primal. Turd still has this Primal, which is going to be like the only ult Geometric really have. Some nice little late staggers coming in, though, from Geometric. A nice little team fight when you're not going to be 99-0. No, you're gonna be looking to actually turn this around. But Ace High has Sep with that overclock, and that is very dangerous considering the lack of really support ultimates from Geometric.
Yeah, Wooly is coming up on that beat, which may serve them well as they move into this, but really still anybody's game. Both teams only have 1 in the pocket. Skep pops his ult early.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for some. Looks like immediately gets stoven on by Churd, who immediately transforms into an raging monkey on that point. Looks like now it's kind of all focused around the point here. Looks like people are getting pretty scattered. Makes it really hard for Ace High to really conglomerate onto one person exactly. It looks like, yeah, Geometric are going to take advantage of that, find a nice little railgun on a Vig, and now Vex is down. That's 2 really big characters that you want to have for a point presence against such a basically a mirror. So it looks like, oh, Hypno does find a nice little headshot onto Tilted Waffle, but as you can see,
Yeah, that was a huge opening pick from Tilted Waffle. Taking out Vig on the Kiriko really helped out with their... with only the sustain of the Lucio, the rest of Geometric were able to collapse in onto the 4 remaining players of Ace High and really just put enough pressure on that they were able to hold this point. About 60% ticking up now. Wooly does have their beat up, and Jin is getting close to her Reaper ultimate, so lots of big ults in the pocket here for Geometric as they approach this net.
Yeah, looks like they're playing around that right side. They know they can smell all the ultimates in the water. They're fishing out some picks, but ooh, Jin fishes out Skep here. That's going to be ginormous. Nova does trade it with a pick onto the enemy Sojourn there. It looks like a beat's going to come in there. Both teams are going to be really fighting for this. This is looking to be last point territory, but a late little bell right there from both sides. Looks like is going to negate a lot of damage coming out. Katsune's used. It looks like, oh, Jin finds another pick. Looks like it's going to be on Vex this time. No Brawl DPS.
Yeah, even though Jin didn't get anything with her ultimate, she was able to force out the ultimate from Vex and get the pick off there, which was massive for Geometric. 97% on the clock now, and we're approaching second overtime.
And with Nova falling, I mean, that's a big kind of character. You kind of want to have stall your point, and losing that, I mean, that was just a phenomenal just display of momentum from Geometric right there. They went from 0 to 100. That was some fantastic stuff. So it looks like the mirror, swapping off to a mirror composition, really gave them the upper hand there against Ace High.
Definitely, and they played that honestly very, very well. Both of the DPS for Geometric really showing their stuff. Tilted Waffle popping off there at the end, able to hold their own and get the picks that they needed to hold it into overtime. I thought for sure that it was going to be an Ace High point. I mean, we saw them get 99-0, what appeared to be almost effortlessly. But Geometric really showing a lot of grit and resolve and able to pull it back and win that point, which is massive for them.
Yeah, honestly, both these teams went from 0 to basically 100. And I mean, like, just from this first point, I mean, you saw a lot of how each kind of individual player wants to play. So after coming into that mirror kind of matchup, it looks like it looked like the freaking getting rid of the enemy DPS was kind of Geometric's game, because they knew that like Nova could dive in on, you know, certain people at certain times, but that's a time-related thing. With DPS, you can go up against them at basically any day of the week, and that's exactly what Geometric did. They just kept kind of pressing them and made them kind of a really crucial target, especially when the DPS of Ace High are under pressure. It's hard to really focus somebody else with these compositions.
Yeah, and Vex and Skep are both very good DPS, make no mistake about that. So Geometric is definitely putting a lot of pressure onto them from performing the way that they want to. We're seeing both teams roll out on the same mirror comp that they ended the last game with, though. Geometric looked really good, but Nova already gets a pick onto Tilted Waffle.
Ooh, that's ginormous. Yeah, it looks like they're... Oh, both DPS going to be falling for Geometric. Now it looks like just the rest of the kind of cleanup for Ace High. That was a very fast fight win. Both teams actually basically went to the high ground and fought for it, but it looks like the kind of abilities... Ace High, you're talking about their DPS being no joke, and I mean, just right there. They're looking to turn things around, given how last round went. Now into this, I mean, we're just waiting for the next fight.
Definitely. And this can be a really tough point to retake, right? You got a lot of cover on point itself. You got a lot of high ground contesting. Looks like Geometric is taking kind of the long route to the left, at least Tilted Waffle is. I can't see the rest, but kind of forcing point and hoping that Ace High just drops on them.
Yeah, oh, but Ace High gets a drop on them, a little rotation, a little bit, some players out of hand, or out of position in quotes. They did go to the point, and it's working in their favor afterwards. Geometric really looking to actually keep this going, even though they got a little separation right there. And now it looks like, yeah, just the rest of the kind of supports being focused, so it makes everything kind of easier. Nova does find a pick onto the enemy Kiriko. Both Kiriko's out of this fight. May make this a little bit drawn out for both teams, but still, the supports from Geometric pumping in damage.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure why Ace High decided to kind of come back in, considering Geometric flipped the point. But Ace High, honestly, at the beginning of that fight, I would say they played it really well. They found out that Tilted Waffle was split. They went and followed them out and got the pick that they needed. But then Ace High just did a really good job of establishing that point presence and were able to get the picks that they needed to flip it and hold it. Looks like Ace High is coming back now. Nova does have his Primal Rage up, which could be huge for stall potential.
Oh, absolutely. Looking to try and take this point back. Both teams are coming up with a beat and a primal. Very big health for the entirety of the teams. Looks like Nova going to be falling a little bit low, trying to take this point. Tilted Waffle also falling low. Looks like DPS trying to find some angles here. Looks like they're going to start off with kind of Nova leading the way. Holy smokes. Jin got actually rebounded right there, but now a beat coming in. Looks like they are still trying to hold this. They have the position they want. They have the map control and they press it. Another Reaper diff onto Vex here is going to try and maybe turn the tides. Yeah, Tilted Waffle's churning it up with a little overclock, trying to keep this momentum going, and it's going all the way to 75%.
Yeah, that was fantastic momentum play by Geometric there. We saw Jin again pop the ult, not get a whole lot with the ult itself, but immediately follow it up after those cooldowns had come down with a pick off onto Vex, which is a massive pick considering Vex is, again, an all-star DPS player, and you know that they're going to be trying to apply a lot of pressure. Vex does have their Reaper ult coming online as well as Skep's Overclock.
Yeah, both DPS ults at that race. Oh, but Seth falls. Jin is getting a lot of these first point picks. It gets 2 of them, but Vex trades it out with 2, trying to make this an even fight here, and it is. On the point now is Churd. He's got the Primal Rage, which you know is very hard to take down, but now it's still an even fight. This really could go either way, even with the Primal. Looks like Tilted Waffle is going to be still getting these picks here. Looks like Nova falls as well. That may be the signal marker for this fight. Tilted Waffle, the DPS from Geometric, a fantastic rebound from the how fast Ace High tried to push that high ground.
Yeah, that was an incredible play by Geometric. It's kind of interesting. They came out both times and it almost immediately lost the first fight each time. But then they came back and were able to cap it all the way, which is just shows a lot of resolve and resilience from them. Really got to shout it out to Jin on this point, though. She was playing really well on that Reaper, getting a lot of picks, especially early on, getting a lot of first picks and a lot of impact picks. So very good job by her to really help the team just cap that point and be able to win this map.
Absolutely, especially when the last fight you have to deal with is a Kutsune rush against 2 DPS ults on the high ground of Nepal. I mean, like, that really, like, you got to dart, you got to go into the Kutsune, you got to go around them. Like, it's really hard to play that around. But, I mean, with that, I mean, if Ace High doesn't play around that Kutsune in absolute coordination, which is hard to do given how fast you can move, I mean, immediately a DPS with an ultimate was picked down. You still saw, even in those final fights, Geometric making the focus the DPS to take down, and that makes it really, really hard for, you know, the tanks to really try and protect them, especially when they get pressed on a Kutsune, which is, you know, something that makes a little bit of a gamble.
But even though Ace High didn't win the first map, which I'm sure they were hoping to do, they weren't any slouches either. We saw several very, very nice coordinated pop-off plays from them, especially from their DPS line. Vex in particular looking super, super good on the Reaper as well, just matching Jin kind of blow for blow. So very, very good play all around. If this is the way that the rest of the night goes, it's going to be an exciting match to watch for sure.
Okay, Ace High is not going anywhere, and in fact, they've only got the stars at this point. So they're going to be climbing that mountain. And I mean, you saw like trading out a fight with a Blossom, getting those 2 picks after an initial 2 picks. They kept that fight going. It was trades after trades, and yes, eventually they fell. But I mean, that's just a matter of time, right? I mean, they really did put in everything, and Ace High, they know the game Geometric are playing it now. They've had a lot of time to really study, reconsider things, and I think heading to this next map, just make it not control, and they've got this in the bag.
Definitely, yeah. And plus, Ace High does get map selection for this. We always, in the tournament, the way that it goes is that the team that loses the point before gets map selection for next, just the way of keeping it fair. So they are going to be able to choose which map we go to next. If you're Ace High in this situation, what map do you think you'd want to go to most?
Well, it looks like they're very coordinated in what they do. They know what they want to do. They've got strategy up in their sleeve. I mean, they've got Ace High. So, I mean, I want to say King's Row just for, like, I hope I see it, but I mean, something more so of, like, I wouldn't necessarily say Circuit Royale. I'll try and move. Is it a hybrid map?
It sounds like we're going to Parisio, so the Brazil map, so it is hybrid.
That's my bad. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking of Payload already, but no, Parisio. This makes a lot of sense for A-side. This is a map where it rewards that individuality, but it also promotes and encourages the coordination from your team. So you get a pick over here. That means you can move this kind of way how you want to for X amount of seconds, right? But and with Parisio, even more. That's just intensified by 100. So with a very, very I think Ace High are going to have a lot of teamwork on this map. You'll probably end up seeing a lot. Geometric, you know, I'm not saying they don't have any teamwork, but I think heading into this, especially with Ace High getting to, I think they get to choose who gets to attack and defend. They'll probably try and play this in the game as a map advantage as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think the names at the top may have just switched as well, which would show that too. So I guess if you're Ace High here, though, the other question that I would have is, do you stick on the mirror comp? Do you stick on the Lucio, Kiriko, Winston, Sojourn, Reaper mirror comp into Geometric? It can work on this map, and it can work very well on this map, especially like point 1 and point 2. You have a lot of good high grounds that you can control that can be difficult for characters that don't have that sort of mobility that those characters do have to get onto it. And maybe it's a comfort pick, hard to say, but it'll be interesting to see whether they decide to mix it up and just go, you know what, Geometric was beating us at this game, why don't we try something else?
Sure. I mean, you had like 2 rounds of Mirror, and so with that, you can kind of see how a dive would work out in your head, heading into this match. You could play dive on the first point of Paricio, but as we've seen a lot of the times, it's very hard to do so, given, again, how many high grounds there are. So, I mean, we might actually see like maybe a change of tank, and the rest of the team maybe trying to play to not only encourage the tank pick, but to encourage what they can do with that tank pick just existing. So heading into this, we'll see how this plays out. Oh yeah, actually, okay, we might see the Doomfist. Yeah.
Unless they're just baiting us, the Doomfist is coming out. We talked kind of at the beginning. We're like, oh yeah, it's the meta. It'll be interesting to see whether they run it. And we saw absolutely 0 Doomfist on the first map.
No.
I have never seen Nova play Doomfist. I haven't seen a lot of tank players play Doomfist, I'll be perfectly honest. So not entirely sure how good they're going to be at it. But I'm sure if they're rolling out on it, they're confident in it. The team has probably practiced on it, which goes without saying, and I probably shouldn't have even said it. One interesting pick here, though, is that Vex is coming out on the Widowmaker, or at least showing the Widowmaker. Again, they're on attack, so they could change it at any time and have been known to do so when I am casting. But it'd be an interesting pick. I feel like it could work well against a lot of the players that Geometric are running, except for that Winston. The Winston has a good counter dive potential onto wherever that Widow is set up. So it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to get any value on the Widowmaker.
Yeah, it looks like they were looking for a grapple shot. Nova, try your best, you can do it. But yeah, swapping over to an Echo, I mean, yeah, I still have a lot of free range. I mean, kind of like a sniper with those grenades. I mean, especially with the Mercy Pocket, actually. Looks like they're going to be running a very damage-oriented composition for Ace High. They're trying to take away this high ground. It looks to be the name of the game with those mobile DPS. And with Nova on this Doomfist, looks like the high ground is going to be used to dive onto Vig. It looks like you're going to lose your Kiriko pretty early, but with the Mercy, you're not technically out of the fight yet. Looks like Geometric's still holding that high ground as we pause the game. Looks like poor Vig has been sent away. However, already we can kind of see the kind of name of the game seems to be those high grounds.
Yeah, definitely, which is to be expected. But the interesting matchup I think here is the Doomfist into the Winston. I feel like the Doomfist pick is honestly a good pick. It can be played a little bit more slow, a little bit more brawly, and has a lot of pick potential if they get a lot of charge up on their punch. The Winston is a little bit better at crowd control, though. I mean, not in terms of TC as per se, but like those the Tesla cannons being able to just tickle multiple enemies at once, do a lot of damage over a broad range, even if it's over a short period of time, can be pretty aggressive against dive comps like this. We haven't obviously seen too much of it, but I'm interested to see how Ace High decides to play that into this.
Yeah, the thing is, going up with the Tracer and an Echo as well. Those are DPS that move around a lot. It's hard for Winston to dive on them, but I mean that doesn't necessarily mean that Winston can't counter them with the rest of the team. I mean, if you got a Sojourn, if you got a Winston, and if you got I forgot the third DPS they're running. Oh, well, it looks like it's going to be a Reaper. You can position each player very, very sporadically, and that makes it hard for Ace High to really dive on them. But it looks like the name of the game isn't really dive for Ace High. It's just kind of destroy the enemy team, however, with any means possible. They've already gotten to pick this fight, but now it's going to be traded out. Nova is going to be falling down. That's a lot of health for Ace High going to be gone. Looks like just maybe a little bit of momentum changer with that pause coming in here. And then looks like, yeah, Pug going to be swapping over to Sojourn as well. 70% to an Echo duplicate. I mean, okay, looks like they are going to get rid of that Mercy as well. So they're, again, playing for this mobility. Looks like, again, they're still not going to be really charging for the point. With this, I mean, with Tilted Waffle on the Soldier, maybe that kind of changes the direction of the flow, how Ace High really want to go. Yeah, it looks like kind of more so of a mirror, but this Soldier's going to change things up a little bit.
Yeah, although they don't have as much like straight up pick potential as the Sojourn does. I don't know whether I would have switched over to that, but Vex and Pug popping off, getting 2 picks right off the gate here.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And now once you have the point, I mean, the high ground comes to you, and that's exactly what Ace High were basically playing at. Hypno gets a little Lucio diff onto Wooly. Pug gonna clean up that whole pick from Vex right there, gonna make it 2 on that board, and with not only that too, but I mean, 2 minutes left. I mean, that's a good time break, especially considering the ultimates that everybody has. Gonna be coming up on 2 ZPS ults soon for Ace High, and I mean, Geometric does have both support ultimates and a high ground, but Ace High have proven so far they know exactly on the map to push to kind of make Geometric play into their favor if they can't necessarily control the players how they want to.
Yeah, Ace High definitely has some good momentum on their side, but they, like you mentioned, they do have a lot of good ults coming up in the pocket. We see them taking a little bit of an aggressive position here, trying to force out that high ground in the back line.
Yeah, wow, I would not accept that play, but now it kind of forces Geometric to play this defense in this middle here. Really some smart stuff coming out from Ace High. Looks like no pick's going to be traded out. Yeah, looks like Trid's going to start going for the point. Now looks like everyone kind of has a common objective, but now looks like Ace High going to be a little bit too separated at this point in time. Looks like Geometric took charge faster than Ace High could.
Yeah, I loved that play that Ace High had setting up in the back line, really trying to draw Geometric's attention out, but Geometric didn't fall for the bait. They were able to see that there were a couple of lower mobility players stuck out on cart and really just push the separated players and get that advantage out, causing Ace High to have to collapse back to help and ending sending them back to spawn. Still 3.5 minutes here. Geometric just used their Kitsune Rush, so they have 4 ultimates in the pocket. Ace High coming up on 5, so potentially a big ult fight coming here.
That's true, but still this high ground is yeah, you can already see how much it's driving Ace High crazy. It looks like they are going to just walk up and contest it, which now they can do. Oh, Vex in the small corners. I mean, this is some scary stuff coming out from a Reaper. Looks like it's going to force not only a Wraith, but a Beat coming out. Now the counter Blossom and Beat coming out for Geometric. Oh man, these close quarters are scary, especially if you are Geometric. Some all-star players shooting some all-star shots into your team is going to be basically almost a team kill heading in here. Looks like is going to be finding that little soldier and diff just to top it off, and there it goes. Ace High now has a lot of map control.
Yeah, Ace High did end up having to pop 3 ults to Geometric's, I believe 2 for that one in order to get that fight, but then again, it's better to use ults and win the fight, right? Pug definitely showing that using their ultimate was the right choice there, getting those picks that they needed at the end. Ace High almost has the chance to push it all the way in here, but it looks like Geometric is going to get another fight, and they've got a couple of big stalling ultimates in the pocket.
Oh yeah, presses that cart. Not going to use that Primal just yet. Tilted Waffle falling low, but so is Vex. Oh, but Pug knocks out Tilted Waffle. That's going to be, yeah, 2 picks now for Ace High. They're going to be running this momentum like crazy. Sure, it is eventually going to Primal, but with a couple players down, this is just looking to be a stall. Pug finds yet another pick in the top right of your screen right there. Now, oh, yet another one. I can't even finish the sentence. And now, oh my goodness gracious.
Was that a 5K for Pug?
I believe so, if not more.
It was either a 4 or a 5K, but that was absolutely massive. Pug, yeah. Who I don't believe even played first map, coming in cold, absolutely just putting the team on their back and really putting in a lot of work. They're already 2/3 up to their next ultimate after using their last one just the fight before here. Coming into point C here, 3.5 minutes left. Geometric does have their Kitsune Rush and their a Sojourn ult of their own as they push in here.
Yeah, but no beat for Wooly. Geometric, yeah, they're going to have to press the aggression that they have, that they can do. In this corner, it's another smaller encounter fight. It looks like a mad monkey is going to send Tilted Waffle straight to that spawn. That being the basic 2 ultimates used for Ace High there. In another close quarters kind of setup, it's winning them these fights, really controlling the map of, and it limits Geometric to really dive onto them. That seems to be kind of the crucial kind of fight winners here.
And that was a beautiful play by Nova there on the monkey. They noticed that Tilted Waffle popped their ultimate, and they said, you know what? Not on my watch. They didn't let them get any map pressure. They didn't let them get the sightlines they needed. They pushed them back until they were able to finish up on the kills, which was absolutely perfectly played.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nova making some plays, and now you got 2 DPS ults for Ace High. It looks like are going to back up after that Kitsune Rush, which is now, I mean, Geometric are looking pretty, I was going to say submissive and breedable. Don't know if I can say that, but
probably
looks
not.
Like that the high ground is going to be claimed. Not at that. A Sojourn diff onto Tilted Waffle. Pug is absolutely popping off on the Sojourn. Looks like it's going to force out that Wraith from the Reaper for Geometric. Looks like going to be trying to narrow this down. Ace High building a lot of momentum here at crucial times. These picks are coming in at very unfortunate times for Geometric if they want to stall this out.
Yeah, Ace High is doing a great job of pushing their advantage this map. They're not letting Geometric get set up and take the fights that they want to fight. They're catching them on their back foot and making them fight on their terms. Does look like we get a last touch here, though, as Turd comes in.
Yeah, a beautiful Blossom from Vex, always doing it in spawn. Looks like still, yeah, Nova finds Tilted Waffle yet again. Nova finds Cleary at that. Looks like Prince is going to be trying to make a little play here with this Blossom, but it is just a stall from Geometric, Geometric here are eventually going to fall. But with 1:25 on the clock, you're not looking too bad on time.
Yeah, Geometric had a couple of really good defenses in there. They were able to stall it out a few times and not let Ace High kind of do exactly what they wanted. Ace High, however, just really looking good from a momentum perspective. They were holding their own. They were like taking the fights where they wanted to. It was honestly just very, very clean play by Ace High. That said, lots of Overwatch still to play. Geometric does have their chance to attack here. Nick Missile, if you're Geometric here, what would you do into what Ace High has been running?
Well, I mean, so far, I mean, we kind of saw a little bit of a mirror, but I think switching up the tanks might be a little bit more helpful. I mean, we saw Ace High do that on the first point, and then eventually, you know, just the kind of mirror games from both these teams. But with Geometric running into the attack now, Oh, excuse me. Running the attack now. I mean, you saw how Ace High attacks, but not only that, you can kind of see how they're probably going to defend. They took map control to the next level, and so I mean, with the map control even more so in their favor on defense, Geometric. I mean, you kind of know that that's the name of the game. So now you can kind of play out in these more open areas. You can kind of play to your strengths more as a team. Be that the dive kind of theme of it, going onto those staircases, going onto those high grounds, kind of avoiding going out to the point until you've knocked some people out. Because once you're kind of stuck in more of a brawl factor, something in more close quarters, maybe that seems to be the kind of weak point. But I think both these teams they're learning a lot, and heading into this, I mean, I don't think Ace High necessarily have a detrimental cliff to really walk up if you're Geometric.
Yeah, and both of these teams are rolling out on Mirror Comp again. It's been working for them pretty well on both sides, so they're sticking with what they know and they love. Looks like Geometric is actually just doing a straight push under to point, though. They're not looking to contest that high ground immediately.
Yeah, there goes everything I just said, but... oh, no, okay, it looks like they are going to go onto this high ground. It looks like trying to force out this Kiriko. Yeah, using some abilities from Kiriko, but forcing out some health from Churro. I mean, they did take one from my notebook, so maybe that fight is a little bit of my fault. But, I mean, a really good kind of vision of exactly, like, because they knew Ace High would have just dove onto the point right then and there. So it looks like these teams kind of know each other very, very well. Now, not a lot of ultimates coming in. I mean, it was just one fight, 40 seconds, right? But
well, that said, Pug is 44% to their ultimate already. That is a massive amount of ult charge to be gained in just a single fight here. They're going to be coming up on it probably faster than almost any other player at this point.
That's true, and now looks like Churro's going to try and knock him out of the fight, but Vex knocks out Kiriko, which is going to be, I mean, maybe a little bit more detrimental. Pug is knocked out, but I mean, with a Kiriko and a Reaper, that's a lot of point kind of sustainability kind of down for your team. Tilted Waffle did find a pick on a Pug there. Now I can kind of see how this next fight may kind of play out. Geometric not getting too many ultimate charges, however, they're moving people around a lot. They're forcing people to really heal it. They're stretching Ace High to their resources limit. And now with Pug, he was able to get a lot of ult charge from kind of reacting to the dives from Geometric. But now heading into this, Geometric may be kind of trying to pressure Pug out before he can actually activate that overclock.
Yeah, definitely. Geometric, Tilted Waffle already gets a pick off onto Nova. That's a huge pick for Geometric here. With both the take, oh my goodness, flew all over the kill feed as Geometric was able to just waltz over to point.
Not even a single ultimate used from by the side. It just really did just turn a blue flashbang at that. 2 minutes now on the clock. It looks like they're going to be kind of almost matching Ace High's time for the capture. There's a little bit of an even heading into this payload. Looks like they are going to just give this up. They'd rather have the high ground, which, I mean, with ultimates coming in from both sides, that's going to be some crucial factor here.
Yeah, and in Overwatch 2, even more than Overwatch 1, I feel like, pacing and taking advantage and pushing advantages is really huge. It can be pretty easy to get snowballed when you only have 5 players if there's if the other team gets a single pick-off. So Ace High decided to play it smart, play it back, and really just hope that they can reestablish themselves.
Ooh. Yeah, but with Pug falling, that's a ginormous pick, given how much damage is done on Parisa so far. Tilted Waffle going to throw in an Echo Ult, really trying to keep this momentum going, which, I mean, seems to be the name of the game here for both of these teams, especially for the second point, with Trade falling down Hypno, and Tilted Waffle just going absolutely bananas, finding 3 right there.
That was an absolutely massive Echo Ult and Reaper copy ult from Tilted Waffle. They're absolutely proving why they deserve to be one of the all-star DPS for Geometric. Geometric only having to use that single ult in that fight. They're coming up on 4 here, but Ace High has 4 aces up their sleeve as well, having everything but their Reaper ultimate up. So it is another pretty even fight coming in here as they establish kind of for the second bend.
Yeah, and I mean, with both support ults too for both sides. Ooh, Vex finds Tilted Waffle. That's ginormous. A lot of flight mobility down for the team. Due DPS. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a rep from Ace High, which is going to be a little crucial considering we're just putting out their ultimate economies. No ults were used that fight, so now really just the intensity kind of building up. Looks like it might be a matter of who Kitsune's first. That maybe would have kind of come down to. I wouldn't necessarily like foresee Pug trying to go in with an overclock and then the team kind of ulting after that. But with these Winston's having the primal, I mean, you can knock people out of these high grounds. You can knock people around to where you want them to. So really, it could be anyone's game.
Yeah, and if you're Geometric or Ace High, you're probably looking to use that Kitsune Rush pretty early. Whoever uses it first definitely has more map pressure and more of an advantage here.
Yeah, it looks like the high ground is going to be pressed from Geometric. Looks like, yeah, wow, this is some chessboard stuff. Looks like can press that Kitsune on the roofs. Is going to find Hypno, that's huge. Although both Kitsunes are used and a beat is used from Geometric, Hypno is still down, and yeah, both supports now. That was some fantastic play from Geometric right there.
Yeah, Churd they got the pick off onto Hypno before the beat was dropped. That gave Geometric a huge advantage there, and now Geometric is just able to sort of clean up. They're going to get enough push here. They might get another, or Ace High might get another contest here, but they used a bunch of ultimates there. They do have Pug's overclock on board, which Pug has been popping off all night, so they could put some good work in with that if they decide to take another contest, but Churd does have that really good point stalling ultimate as well.
Yeah, and Vex is going to TP kind of on that point. Oh, Pug's going to press that aggression though. Hypno falling low, still finds Prince Zexu. That is pretty, oh my gosh. Those shots, Pug on 7 HP. Oh my god, Vex comes in and helps him out, but Woolie's gonna help Pug out to that spawn room right there. That was some nasty stuff. Still, both teams fighting for this point. Pretty even, could go anyone's way, but it looks like the damage is gonna be coming in from Ace High. Has a little spawn advantage, but that was some mean stuff right there. I mean, yeah, beautiful coordination.
Yeah, that was a fantastic stall play by Ace High. They were able to get the touch that they needed with their higher HP characters and set up Pug to put in a lot of pressure in the backline with that overclock. They do have Dex's Reaper ult up, whereas Geometric is down to just the Echo ult, although we have seen Tilted Waffle use that to a huge advantage. 1 minute left on the clock here as Vex is setting up looking for that ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, he's in that close encounters yet again. It's looking scary. The bell is used first, and Vex is going to find the kill second. Going to find 3 of them at that. I mean, that's just how that room goes so far with both of these teams. I mean, again, with not a lot of time left, you still kind of have the Echo ult, and not only that, Woolie's coming up on a beat, which is going to be faster than Hypno's beat, actually, and at that, not a lot of ultimates for Ace High. At that, no ultimates for Ace High. They still do have this high ground, which has been tricky, but Geometric has been able to dismantle it before.
And I just want to shout out, that was such a good patience play by Ace High. Vex waiting until that bell is used and then just popping their ultimate knowing that there was nothing that the other team could do to counteract it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Tilted Waffle going in on that Winston. 2 tanks means Vex is down. you can be Reaper and counter Winston all you want, but when you got 2 of them in your face, it's hard to deal with. I mean, you're going to be up 1 in this fight, but we are going to get a little pause here. Maybe they can actually think about their next move, but that's in the middle of it, yeah.
I didn't see the name, but that was Ace's High Kiriko, that DC.
Ooh.
That could be a massive blow to Ace High here. But overall, like we expected at the beginning of this map, we've seen a lot of really good play coming out from both teams and a lot of really good individual play. Again, Pug didn't see them at all first map. They came in off the bench. They might have came in cold, but they were popping off this map on the Sojourn, putting in absolute work. We've seen, like, again, Ace High is showing that they deserve to be here. It feels like they've had Geometric kind of on the back foot. With that DC and with, I think they got 1 pick off, or Geometric got 1 pick off onto Ace High. Now I'm having trouble remembering. Geometric has a pretty good chance of being able to push it to the end of point 2 here.
Absolutely, it's very, very winnable, especially considering how they're basically reaching overtime, right? I mean, it took a little bit. I mean, but it looked like each kind of fight, they knew how to get it down. It's just like after the fight kind of started and the advantages was lost, Ace High immediately scrambled to exactly the correct coordinates. I mean, at that, I mean, again, they hold that high ground very, very well. That first fight they lost, so Geometric played that even better. But now heading to this last fight, Ace High again went for that high ground kind of hold, but you can kind of see how it ended up still kind of crumbling to them. Geometric really have the kind of, I would say maybe even the ability usages from Ace High kind of starting to get starting to get the hang of it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Ace High has been having really good ability usage. And really good awareness of the other team's abilities as well. Like I mentioned earlier with that one play where Reaper waited until Kiriko used their cleanse ability and they were like, this is my opportunity, and were able to win that fight there. Geometric, during this fight, they did have the ult advantage. We saw that the Echo copied the Winston, which gave them a lot of map pressure and a lot of point pressure there. Whereas I don't think Ace High had anything to counteract. No, I'm kind of having trouble remembering, but it looks like we're back into it.
Oh, everything's okay. It's like nothing even happened. What I also want to point out, the Echo pick from Geometric is I think it's kind of very crucial for a lot of these fights. I don't actually, he's going to swap off right after that, but for the first point and the second point, those are very open points, which means you can get a lot done with Echo, and at that, you can hide a lot as Echo too, which means you get a lot of value at not a lot of cost. And so, I mean, that's probably why they was now swapping out to a Sojourn, trying to match Pug a little bit more. It looks like, oh, Cleary's going to press that Kitsune rush right into the high ground. 3 ults for Ace High. Not a lot for Geometric, but they have an advantage. They have momentum, then they're pressing it. Vex is down. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a massive first pick for Geometric. Looks like the fighting is still going on. Ace High pushing back a little bit. They know that they don't have to stop them any earlier than the end point, and they only have 40 seconds left. So Ace High is going to take this fight where it is most advantageous for them. Yeah,
and that's going to be right on the point. Tilsa Waffle's going to fall. Pug with the overclock. Oh man, but Chur does get Hypno. That's a lot of mobility down for Ace High, and at that he had beat. Nova does find Prince Zexu though, although members falling low for Geometric. Looks like Tilsa Waffle's going to swap off to that Tracer. They recognize how much time is left and how many picks are coming in for either side. Cleary does find a nice little stagger on the Vex. At that, Vig is down. That's 2. Again, point presence is down for Ace High, although point players are down for Geometric, but it still doesn't matter. Tilted Waffle finds a pick on a Pug of all people. Nova still finding a pick on a Cleary. That's going to be your Kiriko out of the game, but it looks like Tilted Waffle is still trying to make a run for this team's money.
Yeah, Cleary and Wooly both able to get that one last pick before they themselves were eliminated, but it's really tough when you've got staggers coming back and they're just sort of touching when they get there.
Oh, yeah, and Vex signaling that off with a beautiful little blossom. Looks like Ace High are going to make this a 1-1.
That was an absolutely phenomenal defense by Ace High. Like I said, that during that one fight, like kind of right before the last one, they played their game. They were an ult down and maybe a player down, and they decided, you know what, we're stepping back. We're fighting this on our terms. We're not letting you set the tempo here. We're going to set the tempo. And ultimately, that kind of idea and that kind of thinking was what won them this map on the whole. They just played together and they played patient, and it really just was beautiful Overwatch.
Yeah, we saw a lot of coordination coming out of Control Point, but the thing about Control Point versus Paraíso, you got no control on Paraíso. You got all the control you want on Control Point, and when it's not as back and forth, it looks like Ace High was able to really root themselves in the map, root themselves in those picks, root themselves in how they wanted to do things. And that was rewarded with not only a massive time bank lead. Yes, they got to the 3rd point, but Geometric, you saw they had to swap players, they had to go such great lengths just to match the output Ace High was dishing out.
Definitely. And it sounds like we are going to Circuit Royale next. This pick would be Geometric's pick since Ace High won the last map. It'll be interesting to see what the teams decide to roll out on here. I feel like even though we've been seeing a lot of sort of the same comps being mirrored back and forth, a lot of people end up running Sigma poke comps on Circuit. If that is what Geometric picked this for and what they decide to do, maybe they just decided, you know what, we've played enough Winston, Sojourn, Reaper, Kiriko, Lucio. We want to give a little bit of a different look, and we are going to rely on our DPS to get the picks they need, which honestly, based on how the Geometric DPS have been playing, that doesn't seem like a bad decision on their part if that's what they decide to go with.
Yeah, either of these teams could probably play Mino Widow. I mean, both of these look pretty comfortable on the Sojourn, so if you're going to want a really long-range DPS, I mean, you've got the options, especially with Circuit Royale. And the thing about Circuit Royale, too, we have seen quite a few Sigma players coming out on this map. But, I mean, with the changes coming in, and with these teams going for a mirror a lot of the time, they might actually try to end up mirroring maybe another Winston composition. Although, again, I think it's going to be more oriented around the DPS rather than the tank for the map, for the sake of the map.
Yeah, and if we do get the Widow duel that you mentioned, I'm going to be so excited. Yeah. Like, as much as Overwatch is about team play and coordination and ults and abilities, sometimes you just want to see somebody, like, hit headshots, right? Like, Widow duels are so much fun.
Absolutely, dude. Watching this community do the freaking Widow 1v1s. Oh my goodness gracious. We saw some players really just go for a run for their money over there. And I mean, overall, it's just so awesome, right? Because like it charges up. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to shoot into it. I could get all into a freaking Widow 1v1. It's down to the skin difference, man. It's something else, man. Freaking. But yeah, hopefully some of the. I mean, we saw Vex come out with it too for the early grapple on Paraíso. And if both these teams went for that, I think then the name of the game. I mean, yes, it's so far been playing around the DPS a lot, but if that's the case, they actually might end up starting to go for the enemy team supports more, especially because you're not always playing Kiriko Lucio on Circuit Royale. Maybe some more stable supports, which leaves them more susceptible to things like dive and mobility.
Yeah, and even though people say that, oh, support is like the worst, can't do anything on support, blah, 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 I feel like support is still one of the most impactful roles in the game and one of the most important roles in the game, so... If either team decides that the supports are going to be their focus, they better watch out because a single support pick can absolutely win or lose a fight for it. It looks like Geometric and Ace High have switched attack and defense again. So Geometric, I believe, will be the first team attacking.
All right, sounds good. Freaking, oh man. I mean, they want to go with they want to get some momentum going instead of what happened on Parisia, right? Let's go, dude.
X Sigmas.
Look at that. Look at that. We're prophets right there. And I mean, especially, oh man, Pug is going to be on the Widow too. Oh man. I like, okay.
Great.
Yeah, so Jin on the Genji though, that's gonna be a bit of a mixer-upper.
I was gonna say, so on Ace High side, we still have Skep on the Sojourn, which is a pretty meta pick, but Jin on the Genji is really interesting here. I don't know how well it works with this comp, I'll be perfectly honest. Both teams look like they're trying to run kind of more of a bunker poke style comp, whereas Genji typically is gonna want to run more of a dive pick comp. So maybe Geometric is looking to do that just to get some disruption. Maybe Jin is just going in there to sort of contest the supports up there and put them on their back foot. But it'll be interesting to see how Geometric decides to play this as we go into first fight.
Yeah, they may be playing it less for the rest of Geometric's team and more to go against Ace High's team. Looks like a nice little grapple shot coming out from Tilted Waffle, just trying to scope out. Yeah, Jin is going to put a lot of shotgun damage into TIE Fighter right there. It's going to be traded out with another Sigma pick from Big right there, though. Although Jin is now trying to look for famous high ground, but with with both Sigmas gone, this is up to just like who basically peeks out at the wrong time, right? So I mean, they're both playing very, very careful around the car. It looks like Tilted Waffle is going to put one into Skep.
Yeah, it's always a tough decision when you lose your tank. Both teams lose their tank first, because if it's within enough time of each other, then theoretically the attackers have a little bit of an advantage with their spawns being closer. But we do see that TIE Fighter is back and Churd is back, so now it's anybody's game.
Yeah, now getting a nice little rock onto there. Looks like both shields are going to fall very low. Both Sigma's very out in the open, and with that, 2 picks going to go Geometric's way. Make that 3 picks with Jin finding 2 right there. Wooly opening that up is pretty... Oh man, it opens it up and finishes it off. That's some beautiful stuff coming out from Geometric. With those, once the Sigma shields were down, and both teams were that close, there was a lot of pressure onto both sides, and at that, it was kind of like Ace High had to back up because they don't have as much cover, because Geometric was already in their face so much, taking the cover away from them. So I mean, that's kind of maybe how that fight kind of ended up going. But Ace High just made 3 very crucial swaps.
Definitely. And I want to say, Jin, I apologize. I take back everything I ever said about Genji maybe not working into this comp. You are absolutely making it work. But Ace High, like you said, making a bunch of swaps. They now have an Echo Mercy and a Roadhog. So definitely looking a little bit more of like a pick potential comp as opposed to like a generalized poke comp. But Tilted already takes down TIE.
Yeah, some beautiful stuff, and now Jin be nailing down 2 supports. Make that a little 3K,
okay, Jin,
almost
I get
4.
It. Genji is an okay pick with this comp. I understand now. No, but for real though, that was a massive pop-off play by Jin. That and the window were the only ults that came out from Geometric. Ace High, with all those comp swaps, are 59% to their highest ult at this point, as Geometric easily pushes it through point 2.
Yeah, a late flux coming out from Churd, right? Oh, well, not a late flux, my bad. I mean, just oh my goodness gracious. Staggers coming in now from Ace High. I can't even pay attention to the screen. I didn't expect yet another kind of steamroll.
That was an absolute tempo ult from Churd. He's like, oh, you want to hold us close? No, you don't. And immediately just decided to get 2 in his flux. So very good tempo plays by Geometric. They're not letting Ace do what they want. Skep is now the closest player on Ace High to their ultimate with 93% after switching over to the Echo. Geometric does have a trance, which could be very helpful here, but they used a lot of ults in the last fight, so they're going to be fighting a little bit down. As well as that, Tilted switch from the Widow over to the Sojourn, which will be better at applying a little bit more consistent damage, if a little bit less consistent pick.
Oh yeah, especially when Skep has the ability to actually copy that Sojourn. I mean, it looks like Geometric doesn't have, well, I can't even get a word out until Wooly finds yet another pick. Gonna be on the Skep of all people who had Duplicate. Now the point's gonna be pressured from both of these teams. Immortality field out. TIE Fighter trying to find a pick there, but forced to use a Rebreather. Now it's trying to go into this close quarters where, I mean, you can just see the rest of the damage from Geometric really just eating this team up. Jin is taking the lead in a lot of these fights in a very subtle but very Genji way.
Definitely. Jin just looking so clean, already up to another blade. Gotta really hand it to Wooly there, though. That pick onto the Echo right off the bat just set them up for victory.
Yep, and with a window coming in, but now Skep coming in, they've got something to say about this. They say 4 minutes 20 on the clock, no more. Now looks like Jin's trying to make their statement proud, but I mean, It's a very even fight. Hypno finding 2 picks, so nice little boop right there. Wooly still has his Transcendence, hasn't actually used it yet, so it looks like they're actually waiting for maybe an opportune moment for it. Tilted Waffle on the back of this high ground. Looks like it's going to be making his way after finding a nice little stag around to Skep. Ace High, though, has Pug with his overclock. I mean, overclocks for both sides looking like, but I mean, another kind of mirror matchup fight for the ultimates, but Tilted Waffle making that move onto the high ground last second, that may be something they actually repeat. This high ground from that Geometric is looking to grab is kind of open in the air from Ace High, considering they have TIE Fighter and the Hog, although Hypno's going to put a good little headshot into Tilted Waffle, going to make them wait just a little bit. They have the high ground control, they have the stability coming out from TIE Fighter.
Yeah, that was very good scouting by Hypno and a very good pick for them. Geometric has 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, but Ace High has been able to get a couple of late picks in the last 2 fights. TIE Fighter got Wooly in the first one, and then Hypno got Tilted in this last one, which really helps them in terms of just taking time off the clock.
Oh yeah. I mean, with 3 minutes left, I mean, that's already basically a minute defended. I mean, but now Geometric coming out on, yeah, Churd with the Sigma Flux. Look like he's going to get Hypno not even in the air before he falls down. The rest of the team is going to just kind of fall from there. Ace High, getting off the high ground, looks like Geometric and Ace High, the high ground, I mean, you can play for the high ground all you want, but when it comes down to it, that car is on the ground, and that car not only is on the ground, it's at the 3rd checkpoint with 2 minutes 45 on the clock.
Yeah, that was a very good attack by Geometric. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. Jin, the Genji pick was great. With that Genji pick, they didn't allow the supports or the DPS from Ace High to really get comfortable and just be able to focus in on their shots. There was just too much disruption coming out, which caused Ace High to have to rethink their entire strategy. Lots of really good play on both sides. Really want to give a shout out to Wooly. Again, they got a couple of really crucial picks a couple of times in some of those fights that really just allowed Geometric to keep their momentum going. So very good play all around though. If you are Ace High here on attack, knowing that you kind of ended with that Roadhog Echo comp, it's interesting to see what they're coming out on, but it looks like it's going to be another semi-mirror, again with the Sojourn swapped out for the Genji on Geometric.
Well, I think Ace High ended up softening their compositions so hard, especially even a Hog coming out. They wanted some more control of the enemy players. They wanted some hook values coming in. They wanted Echo throwing some grenades, and to make the pressure that they were receiving go onto the Geometric, especially when Zen Diata's kicking it in that kill feed. But now with a Sigma kind of mirror, it's gonna be something more reminiscent of that first point. I mean, oh man, we're gonna get another little Widow duel. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Pug versus Tilted Waffle was a lot of fun to watch on first point, even though we didn't get to see it for very long. So kind of hoping they stick with it a little bit longer here. Again, Jin on that Genji. I'm not going to say that it's not probably the best pick, because it probably is the best pick, but it'll be interesting to see how they manage to do this on defense with the Genji instead of on attack. With attack, I feel like you have a little bit more aggression power, whereas on defense, it can be a little bit tougher to maybe get as much value.
Yeah, that's a really good point, especially when the high ground seems to be the name of the game here. If you could dive out in the open, you're very open. A Sigma Shield can't really protect you as much, and looks like it's going to be falling a little bit low. Although, Churd finds a nice rock on a big. That's your immortality down. A lot of healing and damage down at that. But Pug going to return that with a nice headshot onto Tilted Waffle. Going to be trying to make a little bit more picks coming in here. Jin going to find a pick on a Sigma, though. Pug finds a second one, though. That one can be a Baptiste as well. Looks like, oh man, Jin is eating up the kill feed, but Sep, a nasty little reverse on the Jin right there. But now, Reese, oh man, what a fight.
Definitely. I feel like Ace High still has a little bit of advantage here just because they have earlier respawns. But that pick from Pug onto Tilted Waffle is honestly what has made this, like, Ace High be able to maintain their pressure. With one Widow down, not only do you have that threat gone, but you also have the map pressure gone, which allows your supports and your other DPS to get a little bit more involved in the fight.
Absolutely, and now the map control is, in that sense, going to be going back to Geometric, who is now sending out us maybe able to press a little bit more further, but Pug, again, canceling out Tilted Waffle. We can start seeing maybe a little of a Widow Diff rising here after 2 minutes, but, I mean, just the rest of the team from Geometric plays so well with the picks that Tilted Waffle gets, and I think that's what's helping them a lot.
Yeah, I feel like both teams are sort of just playing around their Widows. The Widows are having their own little duel, and the other members of the team are sort of duking it out in the meantime. Just very good pressure by Geometric. They're able to focus the less pocketed, less guarded players and picks that they need to stall this fight out. Coming into this, Jin does have their Blade up, and Cleary and Wooly are both playing from their ult. Pug gets an early pick onto Tilted Waffle.
I believe that's the third shot now onto Tilted Waffle. This one will be the second headshot, I believe. Looks like are going to be pressing this ultimate kind of economy right into the face of Geometric. Is going to cut down Jin, which is very, very crucial. I mean, you haven't knocked out Tilted Waffle yet. They're coming back, but 3 players left and not a lot of damage. I mean, you can just kind of see how this is going to be going the way of Ace High, especially with both these teams now coming up on 4 ultimates. You really got to regroup with your team, because the way these teams play with ultimates is not just run in and shoot the gun, right? It's very they know what to do. And heading into this, Jin has a blade, which is going to be different from how it's going to use this overclock, and seeing how that turns out is going to be something, if we can get to that point, considering the massive momentum TIE Fighter is doing. Pug finds a nice little headshot onto Cleary. Looks like they're looking to wrap this up.
Yeah, it looks like Sigma's going to get a little bit of stall out on the cart, but in the end, Ace High does end up pushing this even further. Ace High did end up using their Transcendence that fight, kind of just to capitalize and secure it. Wooly does have their Transcendence up, but that is the only ultimate available for Geometric. Probably saving it to use for the Sigma ult here, but lots of ults on Ace's high side, so you can only imagine they're probably going to be able to push this, especially with that early pick onto Jin by TIE Fighter.
Ooh, that was crucial. TIE Fighter is really getting a lot of picks heading to the second point, especially kind of toward the tail end of that first point too. It's kept not just launching shots into the rest of Geometric here. When you're up a pick, I mean, basically have at it, right? Now it looks like, Variant falling very low. TIE Fighter still hasn't used his Sigma ult yet, but still finds yet another pick. It's going to be on a Tilted Waffle. The Soldier is out, a lot of damage, but now a window as well. Oh, Jin trades it out. Big's gonna fall. That's a lot of healing down for the rest of the team. Looks like no heals now for Geometric. I mean, Ace High right here. Looks like Geometric have come back with a successful recontest.
Yeah, that was actually a really good ult by Wooly. Originally I was like, oh no, now he doesn't have it for the Sigma ult, but by popping Transcendence there instead of saving it for the theoretical future Sigma ult, they allowed their team to really just stabilize and push in, sending Ace High back to spawn. Ace High did use only 1 ult of their own there with the window, and they do still have now a free lift, but Geometric honestly played that super well, allowing them to get another fight in.
Yeah, especially when it's nearing this kind of 2 minutes. Now you're looking to try and really reduce Ace High's time if they do even capture the checkpoint. Now Ultimate's coming up. TIE Fighter still has this flux. Looking to pop her right away after that infra sights. Gets a good little view on the players. It's kept with a beautiful little dive in on that. TIE Fighter is going to find Wooly. That's going to be huge. But now it's going to be an even fight. No heals though for the side of Geometric. That's going to be kind of the crucial kind of factor here. Pug is getting a little pressured, but I mean the rest of this seems to just going to be picks falling off into that top right. Looks like Pug getting two kills that fight. Some nice stuff. Looks like they are going to be trying to make this a successful checkpoint grab. Hypno is going to be the only one though for Ace High coming up on an ultimate, and that's going to be Transcendence.
Yeah, definitely. Geometric or TIE Fighter already taken out Jin, allowing Ace High to kind of establish themselves here. It's really just a trickle fight at this, as Geometric has to give up 2.
Yeah, both his supports actually gone from that trickle round. Very, very, very crucial for the rest of Ace High to take advantage of this. TIE Fighter has been non-stop putting his name up there. What a fantastic Sigma performance so far. But now he's not gonna have Flux this fight. Churd's gonna have Flux this fight. And at that, 2 DPS ults for Geometric. It looks like Ace High is gonna be trying to play the high ground now to make this next fight a little bit of a mixer-upper.
Yeah, but even though Geometric has a bunch of ults in their pocket, Hypno has the Transcept. If Hypno's able to pop that in an opportune moment and really just dodge those ults, they could negate 3 or even 4. That said, TIE Fighter, again with the really good aggression, really targeted kills, takes out Wooly.
Yeah, Jin gonna trade it. Looks like Healy's gonna be down for both sides. Only one though. Jin gonna be cleaning this up. Fantastic reflexiveness from Geometric right there. They recognized Ace High had the high ground and... Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Jin hasn't gotten it less than like 2 kills with a naked blade each fight, which is really something amazing. Like, we saw her doing really well and popping off on the Reaper on first point, definitely showing that she can play the Genji as well. Just really solid play all around. Ults used there was basically just the Genji blade though, so both teams have a ton of ults in their pocket, and they've definitely proven in the past they're not afraid to use a bunch if the situation calls for it.
Yeah, and Hypno didn't use Transcendence for Jin's blade either, so now has this kind of maybe to press the aggression, maybe to press Churd's defense. Either way, that's a lot of advantage had for Ace High. Looks like they're going to use it for the Sigma Flux. They are getting this point kind of progress. Churd's going to be discorded on the point by himself, though very vulnerable, however, not falling just from the pure, the sight lines from Geometric. Looks like they're going to be pressed, and holy smokes, a fantastic headshot onto Pug here is going to lead the rest of this fight kind of leading the way of Geometric.
Yeah, just very good target focus, I feel like, coming out from Geometric. We've seen a number of names in the kill feed kind of all night. They're really setting Ace High back on their heels. That said, again, Ace High really only used that Transcendence in response to Churd's Lift earlier, so they do have a bunch of very aggressive ultimates on their side. That said, again, Wooly has that trance up, and Vig is already gone.
Yeah, didn't even get the chance to pop that Q. I mean, that window just absolutely deleted him. Now no supports for the side of Ace High, and about 40 seconds left. You're just going to have to recontest. Looks like Pug's going to swap over to a Tracer, which can actually be very, very detrimental. Oh, yeah, it looks like some more swaps coming out from Ace High. Are they going to play something more of a dive with TIE Fighter on the Winston?
Well,
on the Hog.
30 seconds left. It's pure stall at this point. They probably just want to be able to get picks and get back to points at this. Geometric and Ace High both are without ultimates here, although Jin is coming up on the Blade, which we've seen her use to great advantage in the past. Tilted Waffle gets an early pick onto Skep, which is going to be huge for Geometric.
Oh man, yeah, your Echo down. Pug's going to be the only DPS. Looks like a hook coming in. Not going to really find a connect with a pick though. 2 picks already for Ace High is down. Now just Jin. Yeah, every single blade has just been popping off. 3.
There we go.
4.
Jin. How the hell is Jin not an all-star DPS? She has been absolutely showing that she is one of the best DPS probably in this game right now, and one of the best players on either of these teams. Absolutely popping off, doing great. We'll see her play of the game here. But again,
which blade will it be?
I don't know. There were so many of them. But again, like, really great play by Geometric. Also got to hand it to Ace High. They played very, very well. They were able to play really good attack and defense. Unfortunately, Geometric just eking them out a little bit again. It looks like this is going to be another knockdown, drag-out brawl, just like their matchup in Stage 2 was, where, again, was a 3-2. Very excited for this. This is probably the closest game of Overwatch I have ever cast. This is a lot of fun, so really looking forward to casting the rest of that.
That's called the Circuit Royale effect.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It is semifinals of the playoffs, which means that we do go to best of 7, so first 4 here. So still a lot of Overwatch left to play.
Absolutely, and man, you're not gonna want to miss it. I mean, at that, Ace High is not gonna want to miss this opportunity to win. After that loss, especially after trying so hard, getting so far, they're gonna have a lot of things to say that may become in the form of red over blue in the kill feed right there. So, I mean, holy smokes! Especially with the picks, the swaps again coming out. They know how to play against the players of Geometric. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and that said, like, it is Ace High map pick again. We saw them win on their map pick last time. They're probably going to pick a map that they feel strong and confident on this time, and it could just end up keeping going back and forth until one team finally crowned the but with this being best of 7, that means that we go to halftime after 3, so we have a 10-minute break. But when we come back, we will have more action as we go to push.
Let's go. Hello and welcome back. Ruse had a fantastic little break, and a break is very, very much needed considering how much heat is between these two teams so far, especially considering the map, the last map, a very, very straightforward map. I mean, that's going to be very well complemented with us heading out to Colosseo.
Yeah, and push maps are always really interesting. It's one of those that kind of it can feel oppressive. It can feel like, oh, we're on our back foot, like there's absolutely no way of winning this. But it's also one of those map times where you can come back in overtime and win the whole thing on a single push. So really, it's a game of momentum. It's a game of like regrouping and playing patiently. With that being the map type, it's kind of hard to say who is at the advantage here. I feel like both teams have been really good about playing patient when they need to, playing aggressive when they need to. Geometric may have a slight edge, but that said, Ace High did pick this map, so it's obviously one that they feel comfortable on. Sorry, go on. No,
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, yeah, because it's very reminiscent of kind of Circuit Royale and how they wanted to kind of play this heading into it. I mean, like because Ace High knew how to play Circuit Royale. It was just a kind of another case of that third kind of point where it's just very hard for either team to really attack. It's hard to really set your footing in there if someone else already has it. So with Colosseo, that removes it and replaces it with symmetry. Now you've got the ability to make momentum whenever you want, and I mean, momentum's been a lot of the name of the game for Ace High.
Definitely. And we've definitely seen that too with the way that both of these teams are using their ults. We've not only seen them use kind of what you expect as like setup ults and reactionary ults, we've seen both teams use tempo ults, which are always a lot of fun. This being the Harmony tier, people being around gold to plat SR. I feel like tempo ults are something that you don't always see, especially in comp at this level. So it's a lot of fun to see these two teams who are in the semifinals of the tournament be able to use those. One more thing though, with that being said, this is the semifinals, so we do have a game being run concurrently, and that is Koala Kings versus Narwhal Connects. Narwhal coming off of their big win against Flashbacks last week. Currently, Koala Kings is up 2-1 at the half. So the winner of this game will play the winner of that game in the grand finals next week. So definitely two games to keep an eye on, but we'll try to keep you updated here as we move along.
Yeah, and I mean, holy smokes! Yeah, some big leagues games going on, and what a more fitting face for a big league game than the big old Coliseum of Rome. I mean, what a fantastic setting, and I mean, with both these teams, the kind of way that they play a lot, we saw Sigma on last map, so it looks like they are aware of kind of changing up their tanks for the map. They still a lot of the time go for a mirror kind of matchup. Let's see what they kind of run here. It looks like maybe something of a Winston versus a little Hog here, which I mean, both are very viable tanks given how much these players have really made a name for themselves. Maybe we haven't seen a lot of Hog necessarily, but we have seen it at very crucial times. Maybe not for a lot of time, but you kind of see what they wanted to do. And now Colosseo is the exact opportunity to really show that.
Definitely, and I feel like Ace High are going back to old reliable. They've got the sort of stock standard comp that you expect to see. Geometric are throwing out something a little bit weird. They're going for a little bit more of a disruption comp, a little bit more of a pit comp, but still with the same support line as Ace High that helps with both speed and utility.
Yeah, and now with a lot of speed and utility, I mean, sure, with this hook, I mean, you're looking to try and take away some of that individuals. You're looking to try and, like, back away the rest of the teams. Looks like, oh, after that hook, though, Nova will be going to be diving in, really taking advantage of the kind of vulnerability that Hog has. Looks like he's going to be kind of pressing this bow with Nat. Now abilities coming online for either side, although Pug going to find both supports for a Geometric right there. Some mean stuff coming after that first point. Looks like we're probably going to have to see a regroup, and, I mean, that's just you're going to have to rethink about that one.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful play by Nova there. Ooh, good pick by Tilted Waffle onto Vex. But I just want to shout out Nova. Waited patient, played around corners, waited for the hook to come out. As soon as that hook came out and the Hog was vulnerable and not able to take care of divers as well, immediately on the supports. Just absolutely perfect play by Nova there.
Oh, absolutely, and now Geometric is going to eventually start getting this point back, and now but they kind of know what Ace High's kind of game is. Now it looks like Dive, goes for a hook, but Vex is going to be able to live, although Wraith Form is not going to be forced out. Prince X, who trying to cause some mayhem in the backline, is going to get sent back to spawn though. Now the rest of the team is going to be falling for Geometric. Looks like this Hog kind of pick, they try to sandwich the rest of Ace High into it, but the thing about Ace High, you can't just think their DPS are just going to look straight ahead. If they notice that something like a Tracer's in the backline, everyone else is going to play around that, and they did so just phenomenally. Now it looks like Prince X is going to be swapping off to a Reaper now. Looks like you got some more brawl factor heading into this. Not only that, ultimates.
Yeah, definitely. Geometric has a bunch, and Tilted Waffle basically popping overclock as soon as they get it, but are taken down by Pug almost instantly.
Yeah, gnarly finds 2 picks at that. Looks like trying to find some more here. Oh, a perfect little lineup for a collat here. Looks like it's going to just find a classic 3K. Make it 4.
Okay. Holy smokes, you cannot underestimate Pug in this comp. I think Geometric was trying to put more pressure onto them by running that Tracer, which didn't work out too well for them. But Pug, basically, as soon as they're given free reign to do anything, they're getting headshots, they're getting, like, body shots, they're doing all sorts of work for Ace High. Ace High only used the overclock in that fight. They're approaching these secondary spawns sort of hold place. They've got 4 in the bag, and Nova's already taken out Tilted Waffle.
Yeah, they're not stopping there. They blossom and find both the supports for Ace High too. I mean, for Geometric too. Vex finds 3. These DPS are absolutely being monsters in this Coliseum. Now they're pressing the spawn with 3 ults.
Vex heard us talking about Pug, and they're like, "Hey, don't forget about me too. Get a 3K of their own." Geometric does have a couple in the pocket coming up here. Tilted Waffle going over to the Cassidy, probably looking for a little bit more just consistent range damage, I suppose. But 2 support, back to the Sojourn they go. Never mind on that one. So Geometric does have both of their support ults up. Both of those can be very good for sustain, and in the case of the Kitsune Rush, good for putting in early damage. But Ace High has a bunch of ults, including Pug, almost being back to overclock again.
Yeah, some scary stuff. Ace High trying to hold the advantage that they have. They press it with a Kitsune Rush, but it's met with the fantastic beat, and oh my gosh, both teams pop both support ults, and that's going to be a DC. I mean, that's a lot of colors on the screen. Very understandable.
Oh, that's so rough. Ace High is what player DC'd. I didn't see exactly who it was, but that's really tough for them. Ace High has all of the momentum right now. It's a big ult fight. Lots of things are going on. But with the loss of that player from the DC, it could swing things back in the favor of Geometric, who up until this point have been a little bit on their back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. They pressed the advantage they had. Both support ults being used from both sides. I believe it was actually one of the supports. So, I mean, we'll just have to see. But, oh my... It's so crucial because the fight just started. It really could go either way. And I mean, like, especially when it's that close to the enemy spawn, they have the spawn advantage. But given that this exact point, you have a corner to play around. Not only that, you have a corner, you have a cliff, and you have below it all. So, I mean, you still have a lot of survivability. But again, with this kind of reset of momentum, it's going to be really hard to try and get this back up. Yeah, Geometric finding a pick onto Vex here. A lot of brawl potential down. And yeah, Ace High did unfortunately lose one of the support players, but Pug's still finding a nice little Sojourn pick to walk away from this fight. You're not going to walk away too upset, especially when you got to 95 meters.
Yep, 95 meters. You got set close spawns. Potentially have the chance, actually do have the chance for all of your players to respawn close. Geometric did use both of their supporters at that fight. Prince Zexu does have Reaper ult up, which could be massive for them. But Ace High answers with a couple of ults of their own, including Pug's very threatening overclock.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, with a Primal match, you've got a lot of point presence to be made here. Looks like Overclock is going to be pressed. However, it's going to be met with Prince Zexu finding 2 picks onto the DPS of Ace High. That's ginormous, especially considering it's shutting down the Overclock. Nova finds a little pick on a Tilted Waffle, but Wooly's going to find a nice little Lucio diff on Hypno. I mean, the rest of this is just going to be cleanup for Geometric. That was a fantastic press from the Prince.
Yeah, Prince Zexu definitely did a very good job with that. Pug was not able to get any value out of their ultimate before Zexu came in and eliminated them using the Reaper ultimate, which was absolutely massive for Geometric, who are just now getting some motion going. Still a long way to go, just over 5 minutes of Overwatch left to play. Geometric is pushing, and Tilted Waffle is coming up on an overclock of their own. Tilted Waffle, although we haven't said their name as much this map, has proven to be a very strong DPS threat for Geometric.
Yeah, that Overclock is going to be no joke to play around. Nova going to be diving in. Both monkeys have Primal. Looks like Tilted Waffle is going to press that Overclock. Does find Pug already, so that's going to be a very big pressure relieved. And pressure granted onto Nova, onto Hypno. Looking to find some more here, but already the fight is in Geometric's favor by a very large margin.
Yeah, definitely great play by Geometric. They didn't allow Ace High to get set up where they wanted. Now they're pressing their own advantage. Again, like I said earlier, Push is such a game of swings back and forth in terms of momentum, in terms of pushing things like that, and it's never over until it's over, which Geometric is proving to us now as they are approaching their second spawn point.
Yeah, at that, they're going to Kitsune in the spawn. I mean, holy guacamole, it is a very nice spawn. I personally give it a rating 9 out of 10. What would you give it?
Definitely. I mean,
Oh,
that
yeah.
said, it did apply a lot of map pressure. That Geometric is getting their second spawn point unlocked here because of that ultimate. So even though it didn't maybe get as much damage amplification, it threatened Ace High enough that Geometric were able to get the cap that they wanted.
Yeah, Pug's gonna find 2 gnarly picks to start this off. When you do press that spawn, I mean, it did give you the checkpoint, but then it also gave kind of a spawn advantage for Ace High, which they did press it. The rest of this is just gonna be kind of, a series of equations. That's how that fight was just gonna turn out. And I mean, if you're Geometric, you're not out of this just yet.
No, but Geometric used a lot of ultimates on a very lost fight there, which is super difficult for them. They got the checkpoint they needed. They maybe should have backed up, but they just continued to press even though they were a few down. Ace High is using one of their 5 ultimates here with Pug looking for their overclock.
Oh, Tilted Waffles tried right there, but Vex is going to shut that down. I mean, there's still four ultimates on the board for Ace High and not a lot for Geometric. They've got momentum and they've got the means to do so. Prince Zexu is out of the fight. Looks like the rest of this is just going to be kind of a stall from Geometric, which is working pretty well for in terms of time, but I mean, you have the ability to stall whenever you want. Nice little 2 picks from Hypno right there. When Ace High isn't really necessarily playing to get ultimate economy, they're just playing to destroy you, and I mean, that's what just happened.
That was an absolutely massive pick by Vig onto Tilted Waffle. Ace High won that last fight with a single ultimate. They still have 4 in their pocket, whereas Geometric is coming up on 2. We have seen Prince Zexu use that Reaper ultimate to a huge advantage previously, so it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to do it here into the double support ultimate of Ace High.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be it's a tough egg to crack, right? But Nova trying to make this, oh my goodness gracious, Tilted Waffle doesn't even get the chance. Vex is gonna press that chance even further, trying to get a little Blossom out, does force out the belt, but with that, Prince Zexu comes in for the reverse, kind of Blossom, does find 2. It's still a very trade back and forth fight. Willie finding another pick though, is gonna maybe make this an advantage of Geometric. A nice little primal coming out from Ace High's Nova right there, a nice little bell too to try and keep this fight alive. Prince Zexu falling very low, but with a lot of damage down for Geometric. I mean, Ace High. I mean, that's just going to be kind of going the way of Geometric.
Yeah, and Geometric, honestly, gotta hand it to Prince Zexu on that one. It looked like Ace High had it firmly in hand, firmly in the bag. And it definitely had the ult advantage coming in, but Zexu able to get a couple of very key picks with their Death Blossom there, allowed Geometric to take the fight back and push the robot back. They do have quite a bit beyond that second checkpoint to have to push if they want to match up with Ace High. But that said, 2 minutes left on the clock. Again, anything can happen, and Vig does have their Kitsune Rush up, which is a massive ultimate.
Especially in this narrow hallway, yeah, it's gonna be pressed actually from the side of Geometric first. Looks like they're just gonna find a gnarly pick on the Pug of all people. Looks like he's gonna be met with a Soulstone kill from Nova. However, another trade. Both TPS players down for either side. Now it's just up to the supports and tanks. I mean, sure does have this primal. Hypno has 2 picks though, and at that, your Kiriko's gone. He's got mobility, not a lot of HP necessarily. Looks like sure it's just gonna be swinging around this point, trying to get this still going in their favor. Nova playing to shut down Wooly right there, but already the fight is in the way of Ace High. Even if the bot doesn't look like it, it's gonna start moving its way after this final Lucio pick. Another one on the Churd right there.
Yeah, really good opening pick by Churd to try to set Geometric up, but Hypno absolutely popping off on the Lucio, getting a 3K in that fight. Again, Hypno being one of the all-star DPS on Ace High this season, or excuse me, not DPS supports on this season, although he's playing like a DPS today. Just absolutely putting in work there.
Yeah, and at that, it's gonna be about with an assist, getting Pug that little kill onto Prince Zexu, and at that, Vic's gonna find one onto Wooly. That's a lot of mobility down from Geometric right there. Can't even look at which team name there is because there's so many picks still happening. Pug finds one onto Churd in the most beautiful of fashions, trying to wrap this up with 35 seconds left.
Yeah, and Vig still hasn't used that Kitsune Rush. It is still in their pocket here as we approach the very end of the last point. Definitely a lot of pressure that can be applied there. We see Tilted Waffle going over to the Echo, but immediately getting picked off by Pug.
Man, Pug is finding so many of these picks in these last crucial moments. And now with Nova with the Primal, Vig with the Kitsune Rush, Ace High in Geometric spawn, a beat is pressed, Tilted Waffle swaps over to a Bastion. Prince Zexu has this Blossom, he's trying to make his way over, but he's dead. 3 picks up for Ace High, and a Bastion trying to make Geometric's name shown in that kill feed in any other way from left to right, but it's going to be a no from Vex, and it's going to be a no from Pug. That's going to be a yes from Ace High, getting this match 2-2.
And we're continuing to go back and forth. This is such a fun game. Absolutely want to shout out Vex there at the end. They got the Reaper ult up, but decided, you know what, I'm going to rely on my own aim and my own other abilities and not put a giant target on my back by ulting. Ended up getting a couple of picks without ever needing to pop their ultimate there at the end, which was an absolutely massive play by them. Obviously, they had the ult if they needed it, but really just solid play coming out from both teams here. We said at the beginning that we were expecting a lot of pushing back and forth. We were expecting a lot of swings and momentum, and they certainly did not fail to disappoint as far as that goes. But Ace High does have the advantage in this one. They were able to tie it up, like you said, 2-2, which means that Geometric again picks the map. And I feel like when it comes down to it, whichever one of these teams wins the other team's map pick is going to be the team that ends up winning the whole thing. Both of these teams are just so neck and neck.
Oh yeah, each one playing to their comforts in every single way they can. I mean, for Coliseum, right? Geometric still thought they had that. They got very far. They got to 70 meters, right? They even went to the spawn just to enclose that spawn advantage you get from having the bot at that checkpoint. But with that edge, that L factor for this map seemed to be the trouble for either of these teams on both sides. They got up to that L kind of ran about that bridge for the bot to walk on, but you could kind of see how that worked out for either of these teams. For Geometric, I mean, they got shut down, and then they just kept getting shut down to not even reach that area. And every time either team really tried getting up to there. I mean, Ace High, they had 2 attempts actually, and so once they got it to the first, unless it was 3, once they got there though, the way they played around it wasn't just like, oh, everybody goes onto the bot. They wrap around onto the bridge behind the bot. They try to make use of the map into their advantage any way they could. They're a very good team at playing around the map, and when it comes down to Coliseum, when it's a symmetrical map, they took a lot of the energy from Geometric.
Yeah, definitely. Ace High playing with a lot of enthusiasm, playing really just smart, playing really well, playing a lot of good tempo. Also, have to give a shout out to both of these teams as far as their mental resilience goes. I know that's not something that we normally talk about here, but both of these teams have lost a map and then subsequently won a map. Can be tough to do, and especially when it is the semifinals and everything is on the line here and you're under a lot of pressure. So really have to hand it to both of these teams to be able to continue just like putting their heads down and duking it out without allowing their mentals to kind of boom or allowing their worries to get the better of them. So hopefully they're both able to continue this, because God, this has been some fun Overwatch to watch.
Yeah. Now 2-2. Oh man, you hear that? We're heading into another control point. We're talking about swinging back and forth. Coliseum is a fantastic example, but at that, Oasis specifically, very different from Nepal, although it is another control point, very different from Nepal in the way that it's very momentum. Yes, you can gain a lot of it, but it's also a very it's a map that gives a lot of advantage to anybody. It's a very balanced map is what I'm trying to say, and with that, it's something more reminiscent of Coliseum, I think. And so heading into this, I mean, obviously it's up in the air, and either of these teams could win, but heading off from experience, from how these teams have played a lot, maybe we'll see another more the kind of Winston kind of play, but we also might see a team try and take something a little bit more different from the other team, maybe something not as much as a mirror, just so that way one team may gain more momentum in this balanced map.
Yeah, and I feel like it's going to be interesting no matter what. We saw on the first map that Geometric consistently lost the first fight on the control point. Ace High were able to just sort of come in and take over, but then Geometric came back, won the second fight, and just continued to hold it. So if Ace High is able to continue that first fight momentum that they had in the first map and hold on to the point when Geometric comes back with their ult and barrage and ready to go, then Ace High could have the advantage. Geometric, again, they just kind of have to keep playing like they were the first control point, but with the caveat of it's never a good idea to lose the first point on control, or the first tap, I should say. So they're obviously going to still be playing for it, knowing that they can come back and do it again. But with Ace High looking in fine form like they have tonight, it'd be a tough sell if that was your fight plan for sure.
Honestly, freaking especially a point there is like taking the first point of control. Whenever that happens to me in my competitive games, I recognize that it's like, oh my god, the enemy team's just gonna win. A lot of your heart is very in the air at that point because you're down 1, and it can go to 3, and it's like, yeah, even you win the next one, what if you just lose it anyway because you lost that first one? And so what I say is first map shenanigans. That's just like, oh yeah, you're down 1, but I mean, a reverse sweep. I mean, we can all sweep here. If you got a broom in your living quarters, if you can use it, you can reverse sweep in Overwatch. And so either of these teams looking to make a play here, especially, oh man, they're gonna be mirroring on the most balanced map.
Yep, we're coming again with the same sort of mirror comp we've seen both of these teams want to run. Both of these teams probably have scrimmed it a lot and scrimmed against it a lot, so it's considered sort of a meta pick. But Pug versus Tilted Waffle and Jin versus Vex are the 2 matchups that I'm going to be watching very closely.
Oof. Oh man, both TPS are trading out both Winstons right there at that, and I mean, now you can see the but after that, yeah, it's Jin. Geometric, the aggression was pushed right after that. They went up to that kind of choke point in that hallway or high ground, and looks like, yeah, just going to be the rest of Geometric really claiming this point in a very, very stylish and efficient fashion.
Yeah, Jin with the 3K to open it up for Geometric, allowing them to get first cap. Forget everything that I said again about Geometric always giving up the first fight on Control. It seems like you were right. First map shenanigans, first map jitters. Ace High did get a decent amount of ult charge there. Geometric firmly sort of on the point here. They've really got to keep an eye out for Jin. She's been popping off on that Reaper all night, and that early trade onto the Winston certainly played in Geometric's favor.
Yeah, exactly. And now Jin finding a pick onto the Reaper differential. That's huge. A lot of brawl factor out. Looks like Geometric recognizes that. They're going to press with 3 more picks to follow that up. Pig is going to find a nice little pick on the Jin, but I mean, you're going to have to find more than a pick. You're going to have to find a point cap at that, because I mean, basically 40% for Geometric, and not only that, you're coming up on 2 DPS assault far faster than Ace High.
Yeah, Ace High is a little bit behind in the ult game. It just kind of comes from the fact that, oh no, and they lost Vig again on the Kiriko.
Poor guy.
Sucks. I know, must be having some connection issues, which is probably affecting his gameplay as well. It's a really tough break there. But I was gonna say that Ace High is not playing much of a poke phase in the comp. You don't necessarily have to with like a Winston, kind of you want to get up in their face, allow your DPS to have the breathing. But because of that, like you said, the fights are going really fast and they're really far behind in charge. Geometric's coming up onto 2 or 3 of their own, I think. Ace High, the closest they're at is 40, 50. Just a really, really tough break for Ace High here. Geometric is definitely going to have the advantage to the next few fights. All of that to say, we have seen what Geometric did to Ace High first map. Ace High could do to Geometric, which is where Geometric is playing like, they're playing calm, they're playing collected, they're using their ults on a cycle, and Ace High just comes in and wipes them with like 4 ults that they've saved up. That's kind of the tough thing with Control. Sure, Geometric can come back and kind of play into their advantage again, but that doesn't always happen. So still definitely anybody's game, but Geometric is firmly in the advantage at this point.
Yeah, and at that, on that first point and Control point, both these teams went to 0 to basically 100, like back to back. Like these teams know how to play Control, but not only that, they know how to control the point. Once they get it, that seems to be the kind of open kind of map advantage. Once they have it, they know how they want to play around it. They know how they're gonna come in. They know how to defend themselves from such things. And when both these teams are playing for more of that kind of high ground, Geometric took that high ground very, very fast, and you could kind of see how it bled into the next kind of fight. And now with a lot of ultimates coming up for the DPS specifically, you're going to get a lot of ultimate charge because you're playing in these open fields and you're forcing Ace High to play more open, play diving into you. When they do that, you can heal your team, you can damage them far faster than Ace High is seemingly able to keep up with.
Yeah, and it's kind of a tough choice then, right? Because if you're Ace High, then do you try to take Hookah and do that rotate around and maybe dive from the low ground to cut off sightline? I mean, that's probably not a bad decision, but then it also allows them to play a little bit more brawling into the room if that's what they're looking for. But 45% on the side of Geometric here. Ace High again. Vig, unfortunately, with the DC is down to 1% on their ult charge. And I lied. It wasn't 40-50% Pug. It was 76% to their ult. They may have a chance to build it up here at around the same time as Jin builds up their Reaper Death Blossom.
Hopefully. It looks like taking Hookah was not actually playing out into their favor here, as Tilted Waffle, I mean, just gonna nail 2 picks to the board. And also, I've never heard someone call it, so I just had to see it. That's a fantastic map call, but a fantastic team kill coming out from Geometric right there. I do respect the rotate. I think they actually also got Vig back in time because you can teleport, you know. But the kind of fallout, it looks like pressing the ultimate advantage when they had it is Geometric's kind of weighed how they're gonna maybe go about this last fight. Heading into this, Ace High are taking the underground route though.
I think that's a great idea for them. Again, cuts down on the poke, although that E ability there from Tilted Waffle is going to slow them down quite a bit. Geometric has a lot of ults here, and it is last fight.
Yeah, oh man. A beat gonna be pressed, a Kitsune gonna be rushed, like overclock gonna be rest, Pug's gonna be down, that's huge. And yes, it is, it's gonna be traded out with both the DPS from Ace High, gonna be falling, Hypno finding yet another kill, and it's gonna be on the Jin of all people. So I mean, heading into this, yeah, it looks like the rest of the kind of fight gonna be going more so the way of Ace High. Finding dude DPS was fantastic, especially after the ultimates that were used. Geometric used both support ults. At that, they used basically every ult they had. And now Ace High going to be coming up with Nova on the Primal, Vex on the Blossom. We're talking about 0 to 100. I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah, no, that was an absolutely incredible play by Nova and Hypno. Everything looked in Geometric's favor. They had all of the ults to their advantage. Nova and Hypno made it so those ults didn't matter. They were able to get the picks that they needed, forcing Geometric back, and now Geometric is swapping onto the Pharah, who is already down, allowing Ace High to push past the 20% mark on this point.
That was a fantastic pick, and it's onto Pharah too. I mean, yeah, Pharah isn't going to necessarily get a lot of support, you know, with this kind of lineup, right? But the kind of name game isn't that you really need it, because you can play around the map of Oasis pretty well. But also, you can apply a lot of ground pressure with this composition and make it so Ace High can't really kill the Pharah as easily. Heading into this, that seems to be the kind of hopes here. Looks like Jin is going to TP right up there, going to be falling right back off along with Churd right there. No players falling yet, but with Tilted Waffle going to fall like a grazing angel onto the point here. Churd going to be finding that, going to be making the trade onto Hypno. Both Lucio's down now with Vex on this Blossom. Oh man, a lot of damage right there on the point. That's going to be a free 60% right there, and almost another team kill right there. Although Geometric did almost cap the point there, they're going to have to reset here, and with no ultimates.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Nova specifically for Ace High. So Pharah was low, the Reaper of Vex got them down pretty nice and low, and then Nova was able to just clean up the kill. That takes off so much map pressure away from Ace High, allowing them to continue to get the picks that they need. Geometric swaps from the Pharah over to the Tracer, probably looking to put a little bit more pressure sort of on the backline DPS here. But we're coming into last fight territory yet again.
Oh man, yeah, there's going to be some intense stuff, especially considering both monkeys basically have a primal here. Nova popped it first. Wow, yeah, Nova's been doing a fantastic job of controlling kind of the opponents of Geometric. Churd is going to find a pick on Hypno though. Churd's going to find a pick not only onto Hypno, onto Pug. It's going to force Kiriko to really back away. Oh man, 3 picks down. Churd was mad at Nova getting all that kind of attention right there. Going to make that a point cap, a point flip, and a point win for Geometric.
Things were looking so dire for Geometric, but the Tracer being down on the low ground while the fight was happening high ground allowed them to cap the point, forcing it into overtime and forcing Ace High into a position they didn't necessarily want to be with. Churd then able to get the 4K to round out the round and just clean up, allowing Geometric to take that point. Just absolutely excellent retake play, using distraction and attention as a resource. And being able to cap that point away from Ace High, who looked like they were so securely in position there. Coming into the next point, we do see that both teams are going back to their stock standard sort of rollout comp here. It seems like that's kind of a comfort pick for them, and they choose to kind of deviate from it during the map. So it'll be interesting to see kind of whether they decide to stick with this or make the same sort of swaps they did last time.
Yeah, the classic kind of rollout for these teams. Looks like Ace High is going to be taking the high ground. Looks like the fun little jumpy pad, which gives your team a very big dopamine rush, which may actually be coming into very crucial plays here. Taking this high ground though. Oh yeah. Now Geometric on the low ground though, very kind of all vulnerable for Ace High to really dive onto them. Pug trying to take this kind of wide flank here. Looks like both teams have started kind of scattering. They're playing around the center very carefully. Bella's forced out from Geometric, but at that one from Ace High. Now Pug going to be finding Churd of all people. That's going to be Monkey down. Tilted Waffle going to be finding Kiriko. Pug finding 2 though. Wally's going to be down. Not a lot of speed for the rest of the team now. Hypno going to be finding a pick though. Hypno's been getting so many picks, and now the rest of Ace High really trying to make this a steamroll. And it looks like they will successfully do so with another assist coming up from Hypno. Nova finding Jin. That's going to be a point cap.
Yeah, excellent play by Ace High there. Again, Pug just absolutely proving themselves DPS during this game. I don't hate that Geometric went for the low ground first. Sometimes that can be a good play if Ace High were to send 1 or 2 people and Geometric collapse on them and get early picks, but that's not how they played it. Ace High played it very, grouped up. They were like, okay, the high ground is here. We can't do anything here. We're going to drop as a unit and go after Geometric. Played well to their advantage. Neither team has any ultimates up, but Hypno is very close. Oh, and Hypno gets a pick onto Jin to start things off.
That was some risky stuff. I mean, there is a 50-50. Looks like is not going to necessarily work out in their favor. However, Jin has been more so of a momentum player. Maybe the rest of the team can rebound off that. No, that pick was ginormous, and now Ultimate's going to be in the works for either of these teams. So it looks like this next fight is going to be somewhat of an Ultimate war, considering both teams having a beat, as well as something to deal some damage.
Definitely. And for Ace High side, you really got to hand it to Nova and Hypno here. They've not only been playing very well and coordinated with each other, but they've also been playing really good target focus. Neither Lucio nor Winston put out a massive amount of damage at their own, at least not as much pick potential as like a Sojourn, but they've been able to get the kills that they need to put them solidly in the lead here.
Yeah, now fighting for that high ground looks like are going to force both teams to really kind of fall off of this, but not in just like all at once, in a very graceful manner. And in a graceful manner that allows Pug to find a pick on a Kiriko. Although enemy Sojourn does find one onto Vex here, that may be kind of crucial, but with Hypno finding another pick, that's going to be 2-1 for picks here. It's a 4v3. Now Jin finding 2 though, that's ginormous. There's no, oh man, support running low for Geometric here. Oh my goodness gracious. Jin finds Kiriko. That's going to be a huge, I mean, that's looking to be a point flip. Jin popping off on the Streepers. This is going to be one, I mean, holy guacamole.
We have seen it time and time again for Geometric. When all hope seems lost, it is not lost if Jin is still alive. She was able to pop that ultimate, get a couple of really solid picks, and then have really good target focus to ignore the Winston and go for the Kiriko, getting the picks that they needed to flip the point here. Ace High does have 85% up, but Geometric is currently firmly in control.
Yeah, firmly in control, places down a Kitsune Rush to even press this. Looks like everyone just throwing hands in this boxing ring. This looks like Fight Club, holy smokes. Nobody really dying here too. The supports from both of these teams using their abilities very, very particularly, trying to keep everyone alive to the maximum value. Looks like 2 picks for Jin, although one gonna be Pug, and oh my, Churd's gonna be down. No monkey for the side of Geometric, although it doesn't matter if the picks just keep on coming. That was fantastic stuff from Geometric. You're gonna be coming up on 45% here, and oh, some crucial ultimates. I mean, almost 2 DPS ults, and yeah, Hypno has a beat, but oh man.
Jin just used her ult fight before last and has built it up to 84% again. Absolutely putting in massive amounts of work on the Reaper today. Ace High does have Hypno with the beat up, which could counteract that. It is a very good tempo ultimate as well as sort of a like life-saving ultimate, but Geometric does have a lot of damage to answer back.
Yeah, I mean, nice little zoning from Ace High. Yeah, presses this. Both beats from both sides. The Blossom is cancelled out. They're trying to hold this aggression, though, from this choke point. Seems to be the name of the game. They're trying to let them really pass it. Yeah, you can already see Tiltwaffle making that a point by popping that overclock on that flank here. Looks like it's going to really benefit the rest of the aggression from the front line from Geometric, and not only that, so much value from Tiltwaffle himself. Getting 2 kills. Hypno's going to have to just reset after that. You only got 1 fight left. You got a touch point, and there's not a lot of ultimates from both sides. This is looking scary.
Yeah, and it's going to be a close touch with 92% left. Maybe the Tracer can get a touch here, but it's going to be a really close call. Ace High doesn't have much in their pocket. They might be able to get the Kitsune Rush and the Reaper ult up here, but that's really their last hope as we approach overtime. Yeah,
a nice boot forces out a raid from Jin. Pug on that Tracer though finds Churd. No Winston left. Now that's a lot of brawl. That's a lot of HP down, but it's still Geometric making it not even matter. Finding 2 picks. Pug's gonna be down. Oh my goodness gracious, that's 4 members down. What an absolute turnaround of a fight. Geometric has studied the geometry of this map, and they know it damn well like the back of their hands. That's gonna be them winning this round.
Yeah, I gotta give it a shout out to Cleary there on the Kiriko, just absolutely putting on a lot of work, getting a lot of headshots and building their ult very quickly. Again, solid play from both sides, and again, we see the team who picks the map is the team that wins. That just goes to show how insanely balanced both of these teams are. Also want to give out a shout out to, like I said, Churd and Churd and Wooly from Geometric. I gave them a shout out earlier, but they're just playing so coordinated, getting much damage and so many picks in. That Ace High had to respect them, and once they started respecting them and focusing them, guess who gets to pop off again? It's Jin. So many threats from so many angles, honestly, from both of these teams, that it's just, you can't ignore anybody. You can't point to one person and say they're the carry, because both of these teams have such strong players across the board.
And that's exactly what Ace High proved. Even furthermore, they picked off Churd several times in a lot of these fights, and still it didn't even matter. So clearly, it's not just like, oh, take down Winston, the rest of the team falls, because you still got DPS to deal with. And not only that, you got fantastic supports really enabling that DPS. Yes, so the thing about that, yes, Churd dies, but with that, the supports weren't even, they kind of knew that Churd was going to die in a lot of those scenarios, so they pressed in that time, they pressed a lot of that, the abilities they have onto their DPS. They enable their DPS even through Churd's death, and that lets a lot of damage just spread onto the battlefield in ways that you wouldn't really expect, because you'd expect Churd to be leading a lot of the fight, Churd to be taking a lot of the map position, but when it's off to somebody else who does a surprising lot of damage, it kind of may throw you for a couple loops, and I think that may have well been what have happened.
Absolutely. But moving into next map, so Geometric winning the last map means that Ace High is picking this map, and we're going to a hybrid map. Geometric is 1 map away from winning the semifinals and moving on to the finals here. Ace High needs to win the next 2 if they want, the next one and the next 2 if they want to progress onward. So definitely a lot on the line as we move into this map. McMissile, if you're Ace High here, which map would you go to?
We've already been to I hope King's Show, but
you said like that last time.
Yep. Which one? Midtown. Okay, that's something like Paraiso, something unexpected. King's Show, my beloved, someday. But I can see why they kind of chose Midtown, right? I mean, we know Ace High maybe isn't going to win those control points, but take him away from a control point, they've got it down, and that was very well executed in the last showing of that. Now heading into Midtown, something very, very reminiscent of Paricio in a lot of different ways. Although it's not very much as individual play, it coordinates teams to play as an individual together in a very unique way. It lets them, everyone dives from the side ground. Everyone takes this loop around. Everybody, it's a very friendly map for a lot of those team plays. And so heading into this, it's looking to be Acei's game.
Definitely. And like, again, Ace High picked the map. They obviously feel comfortable on it. One thing that's a lot of fun, I feel like, with this map is the fact that there are so many high grounds and so many off angles that people can take. DPS, like in these comps, you almost never want your DPS on a full flank, even if they are like a Sojourn, but there's so many different high grounds that aren't too far removed from your team that can just open up the entire field and apply so much map pressure. So I'm really hoping to see some really good Sojourn play, just like we've been seeing. But that said, Ace High, I mean, do you think we're going to see stock standard again? They could roll out on a like Sigma comp like they did on Circuit again.
Even Hog is not out of the question here. Maybe a Doomfist, but like the Sojourn play, that's going to be very crucial because this map, the thing about this map, you have a lot of open angles, you have a lot of open sights, and you with that Sojourn with the railgun compared with the jump, you have a lot of air, and so maybe we'll even see an Echo heading into this. But heading into this, it's just 10 seconds. Honestly, these two teams have been a surprise every time, even though a lot of the time they've chosen the kind of mirror matchup with that Winston. Still very viable on this map, but I mean, this is a map where you can play some variety.
Definitely, and we are seeing a little bit of variety coming out from Ace High. Unless they change in the next couple of seconds, they are on defense, so they are likely going to stay on this. Very interesting pick here. We saw Nova pick the Doomfist just for a few minutes when they were on Paricio. Not a whole lot of effect there, but again, they were kind of plagued by DCs and Vig DCs again. Almost as if it's scripted, right? Poor Vig is just having so much trouble with either their hardware or their internet or something today. It's really unfortunate to see, but thankfully happened before the map even started this time. But they're showing a Doomfist Pharah combination with like a Mercy Kiriko. Kind of an odd combination. Again, like from what I've heard about Doomfist this patch, I'm not professing to be like a huge knower of Overwatch things, but Doomfist you can play a little bit like a Zarya, right? Like you build charge, you go in, you back out, you play a little bit more defensively and a little bit more for high damage output. Kind of an interesting combination with a Pharah, unless they are looking to play Doomfist a little bit more divey, which they may be.
Yeah, I'm a Mercy main, so I absolutely love any Mercy. And when it's compared with a Kiriko, when you have those two supports on your team, yes, you're enabling the Pharah, but also what you're doing in the grand scheme of things, especially with a Doomfist, you're enabling a lot of damage because Mercy and Kiriko are actually very, very similar heroes. It's just kind of distributed differently, you know. So you have a lot of DPS enabling. Not only that, you have a lot of DPS that you can even do as Vig on this Kiriko. And so with that, you have basically two Doomfist complements running with you, and when you've got a Pharah and a Sojourn as your DPS, you have not only a lot of map control on the ground, you have a lot of map control in the air, and not only that, at times that you can even like want that to be pressured even more, considering you can damage boost, considering you can save somebody's life, considering you can do a Kitsune Rush. So Ace High looking to be kind of a big threat here if Geometric is planning to run something more divey, something that can really just leave yourself very vulnerable and open after a dive.
True, Vex has basically free reign here. Tilted Waffle on the Sojourn, not a true hit scan, although they have hit scan capabilities, allowing the Pharah to just get a little bit more free reign, which they are looking for. But it looks like Geometric is pushing to the point pretty fast, trying to catch Ace High on their heels.
Yeah, that may actually work out an advantage, and it does find Vig. Pig does swap it off, but oh man, moving to point, really taking away a lot of the ground from Ace High. I was talking about the composition a lot, but Geometric looking to play really the point here, and when you're on a dive to kind of team, the thing about this specific team composition, it's not just a dive, it's the brawl, it's the point presence, it's when they're in your face. That's what makes it hard for Ace High specifically to deal with them. Now it looks like they're going to be swapping off the Pharah to a Tracer, they're swapping off a Mercy to a Lucio. Looks like they kind of acknowledge and respect what Geometric is running, and they're going to still kind of play to their Ace High's player advantages with their strengths.
Yeah, and I feel like Geometric played into that very, very well. A lot of teams may sit back and be like, oh, we got to kill the Pharah before we can move in, but they said, no, we don't. We just have to kill everyone around the Pharah and not allow the Pharah to play that slow, pokey game that they want to.
Yeah, and it worked out very much in their favor. 5 minutes on the clock there, and yes, Ace High has the high ground, but it's going to be very hard. Both of these teams now, with these team compositions and the map especially, there's a lot of escape routes, there's a lot of ways to avoid dives, and for a lot of players to play around these in life-saving scenarios. Looks like Vex going to be taking that flank, Pug going to be finding a beautiful pick on the Jhin. That's a huge pick, and now Vex half health for the other DPS, no DPS left for Geometric. Churd finds a pick on Hypno. It actually Clear's going to make it even right there, taking out Pug on this high ground. Actually, Geometric actually turning this around. A fantastic Fel as well. Going to be keeping them in this fight just a little bit longer. Vex finding a pick on the Churd though. Looks like it's just Nova and Vex here tearing up this point. Looks like they still have quite the fight to be made. It looks like the rest of the team for Geometric is coming back. There are a lot of ultimates to be gained, but one in particular is going to be Nova's Meteor Strike. They're going to be saving his life, and now they got time for a recontest.
Yeah, Ace High looked like they were solidly in the advantage there, where I would have assumed that Geometric was going to be sent back, but Wooly and Cleary able to get some really good, solid picks there. We've seen all night, they're not healers, they're support players. They're able to put in damage and get those picks where they need to, and that saved Geometric there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pug is able to get in picks there at 1 or 2 scenarios. At that, going to be one onto Sojourn. It does find a second one as well. No DPS left for Geometric, but Wooly, again, as you said, finds a pick on the Vig. You're not going to have your Kyoko anymore, and that Churd matches it, finds another pick. It's another even fight. These supports are doing absolutely miracle work on this map. Nova in the open plains, trying to find some work here. So is Vex. The synergy from these two players so far has been fantastic, although the Geometric is able to get their plays back so fast, and they're able to play around so reflexively. Speedy Tilted Waffles pops you overclock. Jhin has the Blossom right now, it does pop it, but with Tilted Waffles falling, that actually cancels the overclock. Looks like Pug's gonna find a pick, looks like Vex is gonna find a pick. Some fantastic rebounds coming out from Ace High right there, really taking advantage of that open space, and specifically the respawns right there were kind of the name of the game for him.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like anytime you call this fight in somebody's favor, the other team proves that it's actually in their own favor. And for that one, it's no exception. Looks like we have another bit of a pause here. But Pug was able to get a couple of crucial picks when they were needed, and just like able to stall out Geometric and force them back to from whence they came, I suppose. Geometric is kind of in a rough position here. We saw right before they swapped over that they swapped over to a Sombra. Kind of an interesting pick. It could be that the supports are feeling very, very pressured by the Doomfist. Could be that the other DPS is feeling pretty pressured by the Doomfist. So maybe the Sombra is going to want to play that sort of hang with your team and hack on engage sort of Sombra. On the other hand, maybe they're saying those supports got to go, and they're just going to send Sombra in as the assassin she was originally designed to be, and go with that sort of different direction. So lots of different options. It'll be a very different look. We haven't seen Sombra at all tonight, so might be enough to give Geometric a slight advantage in this fight.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like supports are going to be kind of more so the name of the game here, with these teams playing a very aggressive style. Yes, you can dive the Winston. Yes, you can dive the enemy tank. But as you saw last map, diving, just killing the Winston doesn't mean everyone's out of the fight, and especially when you're in these open areas. You saw how how hard it was for Ace High to really come back when it really looked like going into Geometric's favor. I mean, after this pause, that's probably maybe something they were actually going to touch up on, because no player disconnected. It looks like they're actually just going to have to talk this one out. And I mean, now you got like ultimates coming to factor too. You're really going to have to play a lot more coordinated than you have been, despite it being phenomenal for all these maps. Midtown is really going to punish you for a lot of these in the moment decisions,
and especially this end point of point B. I feel like there are so many hybrid maps and escort maps where point B is the the steamroll point, right? Like a team loses and automatically it's point 3. Midtown is not like that. With that arch going over the middle of the point and really close respawn on the end of B, teams are able to really just establish themselves, and it can be very difficult to get that final cap. So Geometric, again, kind of might be running into some issues there. Looks like we are going back into the game here as the teams are resetting. Ace High with a couple of ultimates, with Nova's more of an escape ultimate than anything in the Seismic Slam, or the Meteor Punch. But Hypno does have that beat up, which could be huge into the damage that Geometric's throwing, although Geometric does not have any ultimates up.
Yeah, they swapped over to Roadhog, which, I mean, is going to even pressure more Nova to really kind of save this for saving his own kind of skin, you know? Looks like Churd looking for a little hog hook on the high ground. Looks like Wraith form is going to be forced out from Jhin, though. Looks like with Churd swapping, it's going to be a very different play style. You're going to have to play around geometry in a bit more of a unique fashion than you may have been. Now it looks like it's still kind of holding his high ground, but Jin's going to fall. It was a lot of time just kind of waiting around, trying to find an opening, and Pug took that away from them, finding not only Jhin, but Churd. You're going to have a lot of damage down if you're ace high right now. You got to kind of reset, but you're gonna have time. You're gonna have time, and you're gonna have ultimates heading into the next fight.
Yeah, until Geometric having to be put on their back foot, especially with that great late pick by Pug onto Wooly. Geometric just they didn't push their advantage in the way that they needed to. Ace High saw them kind of standing in that room stalling and looking for picks and decided, you know what, we're taking this fight on our terms, and they were able to push their advantage there and send Geometric back into resetting up for another fight. Still a minute and 45 seconds left on the clock here. Geometric did manage to pull up a couple of support ultimates in that fight, which have proven to be huge for them in the past, but Ace High with a few of their own.
Yeah, at that, okay, well, it looks like Wooly's going to press the aggression here with the beat. Ace High meets it with a beat of their own. Now Kitsune Rush coming out from the side of Geometric, although Pug with the overclock, trying to find a pick here. Everyone going to be moving around pretty fast, but he's coming off cooldown pretty fast, but it doesn't matter if Nova sends a punch into Jhin, and now Vig going to be meeting them up with a pick onto Sombra. That's a lot of damage that's out of the fight. Not maybe in the more traditional way, but with the hacks gone, looks like another pause. Maybe we got to talk about this just a little bit more, but wow.
It's not Vig again. They were 76% to their Kitsune Rush. That would be devastating. Okay, I hear it's not Vig. That's great. Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a kind of interesting night. I feel like there's been some skippy internet at play that has been made things a little bit difficult here. But still anybody's game at this point. We're probably down to what, like a minute remaining here as the teams kind of square up and look to try to Geometric looks to try to push this into point B if they want to maintain a lot more hope of winning it all here and now.
Yeah, these support ults are actually pretty much scaring me at this point, because I expect the team who ults first with a beat of all things to really press some momentum with that. But when it's being met also with a beat of their own from the other side, both of these supports are saving their ults because they know the fight that's ahead, and it's quite crazy to see a lot of these counter ults coming in. It really it racks up Pug as well, who's trying to land overclocks. That means there's so much damage on the screen. I mean, health on the screen. There's a lot of speed on the screen, and especially with the Kitsune rushes, when people get the ultimates faster, that changes up the tempo by a lot. Because not only that, it changes up the tempo for, as long as they're on the Kitsune rush. So every time they're not on the Kitsune rush, that's also something you got to think about. You got to start thinking of the map. And I mean, they're still fighting on the second point. It's a hard shell to crack.
Definitely. It sounds like there have been a DC on both sides now, with Churd DCing on Geometric and Vig again DCing on Ace High. Really? So both of these teams are going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage moving into this fight, which means that neither team is at a disadvantage, right? They're both 4-on-4, unless there have been some picks that I don't remember because I lack object permanence. A little bit of an update from our other game going on right now. So Narwhal Connects and Koala Kings are currently 3-3. The winner of that game also advances to the finals to play whoever wins this game. So definitely kind of a lot of stakes and a big game going on.
Go Narwhal.
You have just bias because you cast them last time.
Well, honestly, they were also down before they were 3-3. They're trying to bring this back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right, because it was 2-1. It was the same score that we had with Koala Kings up at the half. So
reverse sweep. Let's go.
Exciting game. It's one of those nights where it's like we could have cast either of these games and it would have been an amazing game to watch. So kind of a bummer we can only cast one of them.
Well, there's Overwatch for you. There's too much fun for everybody. That's crazy though. It's very intense matches. This is 2-3, but I mean, Ace High looking very, very strong so far. Again, they chose the map, and I mean, it's working in their favor very, very well. Geometric swapping off to the Hog, it kind of seemed to be a crucial kind of factor heading into these fights, especially when this point in particular is very open. Although you kind of saw they were trying to play that kind of flank around. They were flanking around the point. Maybe they're trying to wrap around too, but with Ace High moving as fast as they are, it's very, very hard.
Definitely. I feel like Ace High are putting on a great showing here. I doubted them again with the Doomfist, but they're absolutely proving me wrong again. With a minute and 13 seconds left here, Churd and Vig both had their ultimate charge reset, so both teams are sort of leveled here. Tilted Waffle has the EMP up. We have not seen a Sombra or an EMP this game, so it'll be interesting to see how Ace High decides to play around that, probably tracking that it's coming up.
Yeah, we also got a Cassidy too. That might actually be detrimental considering you can throw in a nade after the EMP is hit. Maybe you can really secure yourself a pick, but Vex finds one of his own. Finding one on Clear, it looks like poor Chert is gonna... Kiriko can save everybody but herself in that scenario, but... I mean, with one pick, you're not out of the fight yet. Tilted Waffle says, as EMP is inside the middle of the team, looks like both trades coming out, but Pug finding a nice little Soldier and Railgun shot. Looks like another kind of trade here, but it looks like the advantage is Ace High so far. Looks like, yeah, going to be finding a nice little stagger. Yes, I do very much admire that play from Tilted Waffle, though. Honestly, that's a move I would make.
Yeah, they were a man down, but they decided to press their advantage and to go with the EMP. Maybe wishing that they had it coming into this fight, but it's hard to say kind of in retrospect here. Neither team has any ults up right now, but Pug is coming up on that devastating overclock ultimate that we've seen them use to great effect earlier in the game.
Yeah, Pop and Pug. That's a little nickname for now. But I mean, no ultimates really just yet. But Ace High coming up on one maybe just before. Pug finds a Soldier and Diff on a Tilted Waffle, and that gonna overclock. Nova's gonna press the aggression with a Meteor Strike, really dumping every ultimate they have, using a little bell, trying to find any more picks. Looks like everybody from Geometric play around this point very, very geometrically. Looks like Chert's gonna be able to get back up to full health, relieve some of the pressure from the supports, but you're gonna be down to support. Vex is gonna be tearing ahead into Kiriko right there, and now Hypno finding yet another pick. It's gonna be on a Chert of all people. The tank is down from Ace Geometric. Pug finding a pick on the Jhin, Nova finding a pick on the Wooly is gonna mean that this point only gets as far as here, and I mean, from the first fight, it looked like they basically already had it.
That was a great hold by Ace High. Just a very kind of scrappy fight there at the end, but Ace High had a little bit more of that stall potential in place with the Doomfist, on their side. Still anybody's game. I mean, I feel like Midtown is notoriously one of those where some teams struggle to cap one. So if Geometric is able to hold it here, they could keep Ace High from pushing it and continue and move on to the finals. That said, though, with how Ace High is looking on this map and the level of comfort and just coordination that they are showing, I think that Geometric's going to have to play the game of their lives if they're hoping to keep Ace High from capping this.
Absolutely, especially when Nova seems to be still sticking with this Doomfist, and it was paired so well by Vex's Tracer. You saw in a lot of that defense right there. Obviously, with this team kind of setup, it works very well for attack as well. But for that defense on that point, you can kind of see how much terrain was just being torn from underneath Geometric's shoes. Ace High was able to play around so fast around specific heroes whenever they wanted, and when the cart was that close to them, Geometric, you saw. They were all forced to play around the cart because so much of the map was taken away from them. Yes, they were all together in that sense on the point, and so it kind of gives Roadhog even more of that kind of advantage. But with Ace High, they were literally running circles around them. So now it's going to be interesting to see how the sides flipping is going to affect either of these teams. Looks like they're going for that alley flank. This is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, they're sending Tracer kind of into scout in on their own, probably going to rope back in with the team here. But we do see that Geometric is taking a very kind of split high ground hold here. It can be very difficult to deal with a Sojourn on that far high ground. Lots of map pressure applied, and when it's Tilted Waffle, you really have to watch your head.
Oh, absolutely. Already some members that falling low for Geometric. Gets all healed back up. They have this point advantage, and they know how to press it well. Looks like trying to take that away is going to be Ace High. You're falling a little low. Still playing this kind of in close space where Geometric can't really go in, or else the rest of Ace High is really going to collapse on them in a very, very fast fashion. Looks like Pug though on that flank, Vex on the flank. Going to be opening up for Pug to find a pick on the Wooly right there. Now a Bell force out from Geometric too. Oh man, Tracer on the high ground. What do you do? Tilted Waffle going to be trying to hold this. Pug finds yet another pick. Holy smokes, Vex, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Vex. I mentioned that a Sojourn on that opposite high ground could be absolutely oppressive if you don't deal with it, just based on the amount of damage and map control that they can put in. Vex completely negated that. You can't focus on Sojourn to get those picks that you need when you have a Tracer in your face constantly. So Vex absolutely played their role perfectly. They are up to a Pulse Bomb with the first ultimate of the half coming in. And Vex then gets a pick onto Tilted Waffle to get a late stagger in here. They are going to get long spawn, which means that Geometric is going to have to give up even more ground that they do not have to give.
Yeah, they had to give up Immortality Field too, just because Vex doing a Pulse Bomb, but it looks like Geometric are slowly regaining themselves here. But I just want to again point out, Vex, I think to access that high ground, you triple blink from the opposing high ground. That's something I never really thought of, so I might save that one for later. But I mean, Ace High coming up on a couple crucial picks, ultimates, and at that, they're 15% faster to a beat than Wooly. That may be crucial here, considering the position Chert is in.
Definitely, that beat has been proving to be a very strong ultimate for both of these Lucios, who are both playing just very excellent, aggressive Lucio plays today. Vex gets that early pick on a Tilted Waffle, which takes out a lot of damage and map pressure off of Geometric, putting Ace at high at a strong advantage here.
Yeah, Vix finding yet another pick. Pug maybe trying to take some that glory wave with the out with an overclock of his own. Gonna find Wooly, gonna find Cleary. Looks like trying to find some more, but looks like Jin pops one into Nova, although Pug's gonna pop one right back into Jin. That's gonna be 3 for Pug right there. Looking to clean this up. That's gonna be 4 per Pug. Pop and Pug. I mean, how's it do? Going for Tilted Waffle.
Can they make it 5?
Oh,
so
I mean,
close.
well deserved from Vex. I mean, Vex has also been popping off, so I mean.
True, but Pug was so close to that 5K
That's true.
Great play by Ace High. They're showing that they're taking the second point with absolute ease, not using a whole lot of ultimates there. I guess they used, well, I guess maybe they used 3 of them, but they do have a very high impact ult and big Kitsune Rush coming up. Geometric with a few of their own, though, that could prove to be the difference maker.
Yeah, Immortality out, Kitsune out, Overclock out, lots of, but it's all very scattered. Tilted Waffle tries to make it less scattered by finding a nice little Soul Turn diff to Pug right there, and when you get the point in your sights that close, the rest of the map kind of falls into your favor if you get those crucial kind of picks onto not just random people. You're finding one on Pug as well, people that's going to kind of mess up the direction of where Ace High can really press themselves, and that kind of made them all scattered into a more organized kind of flow for Geometric to really eat up, and now you've got some commanding ultimates if you are Geometric at that.
Yeah, Geometric with that Orisa ult, which can prove to be a very good point-clearing ultimate, window which can put out a lot of damage. Ace High, not as big in the ult advantage right now, but they have 3 minutes to play and all of the time in the world to build them up. If I was Ace High at this point, maybe I would look to just build some ultimates, take a dry fight, really just force Geometric's hand, maybe even force a few ultimates out of them, in attempts to just gain a little bit of an advantage moving in here.
Yeah, looks like they're trying to bully this high ground off of them. Maybe trying to wait until they use one. Okay, looks like Nova gonna be popped. Oh my goodness gracious, Big coming back from a couple DCs, pops one right at the Jin like nothing even happened. That's 3 assists for the Doomfist of Nova right there. Fantastic play, pushing that aggression on the high ground instead of saving it. That's gonna make Ace High win it. Geometric didn't even get the chance to use their ultimates. That was fantastically played, and now it's 3-3.
Yeah, who needs a dry fight when you just get a couple of picks right off the bat and can just use every ultimate that you get as you get it, just because you know you're gonna win. Fantastic play by Ace High there. They were able to make the plays that they needed to when they needed them, even without using ultimates. They didn't even have to pop ults in order to get fights, and then just were able to secure them with the ults later, allowing them to cap that that very fantastic setup that they set up for themselves on defense. But it is 3-3 now. It's Geometric's map pick. This is the final map of the game as we head on to, I believe it's an escort map? Yes, an escort map. So Circuit Royale is out. Geometric, if you are Geometric, what do you choose here?
Oh man, yeah, looking at this beautiful leaderboard here, Geometric, Ace High, Geometric, Ace High, Geometric, Ace High, honestly, but I mean, the whole point of winning is to, you know, break any patterns, make your own one right on the spot, and I mean, yeah, the map advantage goes to Geometric, right? They get to choose what map, and so far, I think Ace High is going to have to break that kind of series of fate that's been happening if they want to get a win. They're going to have to not care about whatever map that was, and if we're going to use the last push map as an example of, you know, the strengths that they can kind of pull out, Circuit Royale, although Geometric won, it was very, very hard fought from Ace High. We saw that they knew how to play such kind of maps, and we saw that even reflected in Colosseo thereafter. So with Circuit Royale out of the question, I mean, this is looking to be an even fight.
Definitely. And it looks like we are going to Junkertown next.
Widow.
Yes, exactly. Geometric choosing a map that, at least on first point and partially on second point, is very open. Kind of favors that Sigma poke comp that we saw them run very, very well on Circuit. So that could be what they decide to do here. If your ace is high here, I mean, you definitely have a lot of good DPS up your sleeve. You can definitely match the poke kind of beat for beat. But I wonder whether that's where their strengths lie, if that's where they're going to run out on. They have been proving that they're very good at that sort of stock standard composition with the Winston, the Reaper, the Sojourn, Kiriko, Lucio. but they've also showed that that Tracer can be a massive disrupting factor for them. If they want to run something a little bit more divey, stick on the Doomfist. They definitely have the ability to do that here.
Absolutely, yeah. Even Hog, if you know, last map Geometric did pull that out. So a lot of variety is able to be played on these open terraces. But speaking of open terraces, we just saw how last point went down for Midtown. That was some scary stuff for Geometric, considering how strong Ace High was about it. And now heading into Junkertown, there's even less cover. So I mean, maybe there's even more opportunity for Geometric to take advantage of that.
Definitely. Honestly, with the way that these teams are playing, either one of these teams could take it here and now if they play their cards right. That was not an Aces High pun until it was. But honestly, what an absolute barn burner of a match. Like you said, it's just been back and forth all night. It has been so much fun to watch, even more fun to cast. I'm really excited to see what these come out with.
Absolutely.
I feel like both of these teams deserve to have so many players that are all-star status, but really have to give a shout out to the all-stars on both of these teams. Again, referring to my notes, sorry here. So Geometric, we have Tilted Waffle, who is an all-star. Ace High, we have Vex on DPS, Nova on tank, and Hypno on support, who are DPS. So many names that we've been shouting out who are not all-stars on this team, but just really got to hand it to all of those players. Just really, really solid job that's been recognized by the community.
Absolutely, and I mean, so well deserved. I mean, this gameplay. I mean, it's been back and forth, and I mean, teams don't normally just do that. This back and forth, especially in this fashion, especially how so many of the fights have gone. And I'm loving how much of a stage this gives, because you can really see how much just one human can mean to a team, especially when it's all about teamwork and Overwatch. So I mean, heading into this, looks like Churd's gonna be playing more of that kind of the Sigma Widow. Oh, Geometric, they're going to Circuit Royale comp.
I am so excited for this. Jin better keep up that streak of getting at least 2 kills per blade that they get, because that's incredible.
It's crazy.
Ace High, though, is not mirroring.
Oh,
we are seeing a very different comp coming out of them. They're running the Roadhog and a Genji of their own, with Vex on the Genji for them. So it could be a very interesting matchup here, with the only difference being in the tanks between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, first point, Roadhog does have an advantage. You know, you can play around the kind of corners more so, but with Churd, you can kind of play outside of those corners more, so it's going to be interesting to see how these tanks claim space. Although, again, yeah, poor Big, but I mean, that the Genji pick of their own for Ace High, that's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, and maybe they're looking to do the same thing that Jin did in Circuit Royale. We saw that she was able to just really provide a lot of disruption, provide a lot of damage, get a ton of picks. And maybe they're like, you know what, it worked for you, it'll work for us. And see whether or not they're able to also disrupt the Widow and the supports of the backline. The Hog into a Sigma is kind of an interesting pick here. I feel like Sigma might be at a slight advantage here. They do have the shield and the rock, so they both have protection and... Whereas the Roadhog only has the CC pick potential of the Hook, and a little bit more self-sustain, but not as much team sustain with the Take a Breather. So in terms of team play, I feel like Sigma might be at a slight advantage. That said, if the Hog is able to land their hooks and get the picks that they need, 20% of your team gone is a big deal in Overwatch. So if they're able to land those hooks and get those picks, it could prove to be an advantage to them, even if the Sigma is the slightly better pick on paper.
Yeah, and I mean, the Sigma versus Roadhog, yeah, just claiming that kind of space. But I mean, with that, now you got a Genji. That means the way you can claim space is very, very different from how Junkertown would usually go. Because now you can go from point A to point B very, very fast. And that means you can go take out people who are... who's got sight lines of areas that are denying you from where you want to move. That means a Genji can blade in after a Hog hook is done. That means a Genji can play past a Sigma shield. And it's just some crazy like synergy stuff from the tank and DPS. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out on the map. It looked like before the pause came, it looked like actually the Sigma was on the high ground of I forgot which side. Is A side defending?
I think.
Stables, yeah. It looks like they're already on that high ground, and it looks like the Hog is on the low ground. Yeah. So they're kind of taking this kind of off angle to try and really pressure out the kind of tank play. And yeah, it looks like Poke's going to have to grapple away to try and respect the offsides that is being created from this kind of tank diversion. Looks like Tilted Waffle looking for a pick.
And that tank pressure put on by the Sigma is allowing for Tilted Waffle to get a bunch of map pressure in here. Pug being forced back into the high ground with Jin chasing them currently.
Yeah, Jin's going to clean that up. Pug's going to be in that top right. Clear's going to put another one into Hypno. Vig, although, is going to find Jin. That's a big player down, but a lot of space already made for the side of Geometric, and it's not stopping there. Tilted Waffle taking down Vex. That's huge. That's a big DPS down, and like I was saying, some mobility down as well. And I mean, actually, another thing to note here, Clear is going to be running that Baptiste, whereas Vig is on the Kiriko. So you've got the Immortality field, but most importantly, when you're attacking, especially on this point, heading into this, you have a lot of point control with the cart, considering Vig's going to be more faster, especially with Nova now swapping onto the Doomfist. Vex on the Tracer, yeah. This is going to be a hard point to hold for Geometric.
Certainly, yeah. Ace High or Geometric has a lot of the momentum coming here, pushing in. Turd almost has their lift up. But just really good play by Geometric, taking away the map pressure, picking off people sort of individually, allowing them to press in here. Nova switching over to the Doomfist, which may give them a little bit more disruption potential here into the Sigma that wants to sort of stand a little bit more brutal.
Oh man, yeah, and what a fantastic dive onto Wooly right there. The Immortal couldn't even save him, it couldn't even come out fast enough. Again, the synergy from Vex and Nova on these heroes. But Tilted Waffle pops a nice one into Pug, although it's going to be met with 2 more picks heading in the side of Ace High. It looks like it's going to force Geometric to play a little bit differently here, with Wooly swapping onto a Mercy. I mean, so far, Ace High have been kind of just going about Geometric in a way that takes advantage of kind of Turd on the Sigma in a way. Yes, they're not necessarily diving Turd, but they're taking advantage of how the rest of the team plays around that pick. And that's kind of been benefiting them here. And now Ace High, although, oh man, they swap, Ultimate's coming up, but it looks like Wooly swap back onto Alucia.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful, almost full house dive, but Tilted Waffle takes Vex out, which is going to be a massive big pick. Turd popping his Transcendence and getting a few people down. Not a lot of kills coming out here, but Bell does come out.
Yeah, and I mean, 1 pick down. I mean, Nova's going to be taking up that Baptiste. You got no Mortality field, but at that, you got no speed boost from Hypno anymore. And now it looks like they are still going to try to make it a run for their money. They are all together on the point, which means open hunting for Pug. Oh, chucks in a little Pulse Bomb. Narrowly misses Jin right there. But I mean, still not out of this fight yet. The way Ace High is going about this is fantastic. The way they're still in this fight. Looks like they all went into that backline and just kept going at it. You have that health back behind the payload too. So, I mean, Geometric may have expected the rest of Ace High to end up falling back after some of those picks, but Ace High did not do that. And you can do that when you've got such mobility from the Doomfist and the Tracer.
Yeah, lots of picks kind of traded back and forth kind of in a staggering fashion here, giving Ace High the ability to recoup and get that last touch here. 64.5 meters pushed. Jin gets an early pick onto Vex, which is going to be a lot of damage down for Ace High. Both of these teams have so many ultimates coming up. It's going to come down to who can use them better.
Yeah.
Oh no!
My heart just jumped. Oh my gosh. Freaking it literally popped an overclock right there. So ultimates are indeed coming out, but I mean, with Big out of the fight, looks like how they're gonna regroup and go about it. I mean, you've already seen maybe 1 player being down isn't even anything that much of a big deal, but you do have to go about it differently. You got the Lucio with you, you've got that backline point, which worked very well for them fight winning last time, but it looked like Geometric actually already reached the back of the high ground for there, so they have the advantage. They expect Ace High to relapse onto them, and they're prepared for that.
Yeah, definitely. But even though Ace High has been doing a great job, even in fights when they're a man down, it's tough to lose all of that ult
That's
charge.
true.
I don't remember if Vig had their ult up or not, but I'm pretty sure that they did. So that's a really tough loss for Ace High here. Geometric is going to probably have a really good advantage pushing in here. We have heard a couple of ults being popped off. I believe Overclock was the one that I remember hearing kind of right before we went to the pause there. Which both of the Sojourn, or all of the Sojourns on these teams, anybody who's been touching the role, it feels like, has been absolutely massive. Which makes sense, right? These are 2 of the 4 best teams in Harmony tier. With Sojourn being so meta, you have to kind of expect that the teams that make it this far are going to be the teams with the strongest Sojourns, and that's definitely something we've seen here tonight. Absolutely,
and especially on Junkertown too, which again, a lot of open terrain, and not only that, it really grants a lot of ability to the slide ability that Sojourn has. You can go upstairs, you can go up high grounds, you can pop one on a support and get it right back to your team. And so it takes advantage of a lot of the player positions in a way that's very much more punishing than Midtown. So maybe that's why Geometric have been kind of losing some of these fights here, but it looked like they already knew what they wanted to do. They started taking the map advantage away, which makes it so for a player like Sojourn to really just pop up and really just be free in that open, even for a moment, especially when Vex has a Tracer, which is maybe on your support lines a little bit more than you'd hope. It gives a lot of this. Geometric is starting to get the vision of where Ace High leave themselves vulnerable in a lot of these attacks.
Definitely, and it looks like we're coming back. Vig is coming back on the field. Unfortunately, that ult charge is lost. Tilted Waffle taking out Pug with a single shot.
Oh, some beautiful stuff right there. It's like the pause didn't even happen. But right there now a little checkpoint going to be granted. A window coming out from Cleary just to really secure that. They know how scary of a team Ace High is. So, I mean, 4 minutes on the clock, though. It's looking scary for Ace High themselves, although they do have 3 very crucial ultimates. Jin has a Blade, which has, historically been somewhat of a crucial fight factor here in a lot of these wins.
Yeah, definitely. Jin, if she continues to get the two picks of Blade like she has been getting, it's going to be excellent to see. But like you said, Ace High does have a couple of big ults on their own. We've seen Hypno be very smart about their beats, and Pug getting massive picks with the overclock in the past.
Yeah, it looks like the advantage is going to be pressed with the overclock, although advantage is not really going their way. Geometric finding 2 picks at that on the Hypno and Vex. That's a lot of mobility down. Now it looks like, yeah, just the rest of Ace High trying to regather this fight the best they can, but Geometric didn't even use a single ultimate there, and they're coming out on top.
Yeah, everything looked like it was moving in Ace High favor for that fight, but unfortunately I think that they just have a little bit of momentum loss. Geometric, though, can't say enough about how well they were doing there. They didn't use a single ultimate to win that fight. Jin still has that Blade available, and now Wooly has a beat of their own to match Hypno's.
Yeah, and that Ace High doesn't really have a lot of damage ultimates, considering Vex is swapping off to the Tracer. Swapping back. I just tripped myself up. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, but now it looks like looking to take this high ground is Geometric here, trying to find out this Vex. Yeah, they spotted out that Vex and Nova are phenomenal symmetry. They're trying to start taking them out, but they're already so fast. And with a beat to your ally's health for Geometric, it's not going to save you from Pug, which is downright surprising for me. Pug's still finding a pick through this beat. It's going to force Jin to use this Blade, and it's going to force eventually to not get 2 picks of Blade. But honestly, fantastic. Yeah, that is completely my bad. But Ace High, honestly, they played that really, really well. And honestly, I wouldn't have got 2 Blade picks either.
Yeah, certainly. I think that it's really interesting, though. I wonder whether, I think Ace High used their beat first, and then Wooly had to respond. Or maybe it was vice versa. I don't remember. But both beats came out, which gave Jin the ability to get kind of a Blade without having to worry about that, but unfortunately just not able to get the picks they needed. Great hold by Ace High there. Geometric coming in with a couple of really strong ults. They've got Churd's Primal Rage, which is a really good stall, and then Tilted Waffle again with that Sojourn Overclock ult. Very, very strong. Lots of damage coming in here. Ace High has 3 of their own coming up, though, so lots to answer here as we approach 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. Junkertown Point C.
Not only that, Big is coming up on a Kitsune Rush far faster than Cleary. Oh, Cleary's cleared. Pug got some. Nova, fantastic meteor strike onto Jin, who swaps over to the Reaper, but not able to be saved from just the massive damage. Now it looks like a minute 20, and still a lot of crucial ultimates for Ace High. Doing a little dancey dance as you get your way back to point, but I mean, Geometric has Tilted Waffle, has that overclock, and not only that, Churd has a Primal Rage, so that's a lot of players you can move around, and maybe even move them around into the advantage of Tilted Waffle's overclock, considering there's not a beat for either side.
Yeah, if they're able to coordinate that, that'll be massive. It looks like Geometric is pushing under this time.
Ooh.
Stick gets Tilted Waffle. That is absolutely massive coming out of Vex.
Yeah, one ultimate. Now it's going to be pressured. Churd's going to Primal Rage, go into the backline. Already found 420 else just for a moment, but a Kitsune Rush from Ace High right there. Trying to get some more abilities out onto this point. Looks like they have the point in their sights. Looks like that's actually what Ace High is playing around rather than the high ground. Going to make it a little bit difficult for the rest of Geometric to really rotate around that, considering how much they want to play on the high ground when you got a Winston. Now it looks like Tilted Waffle is eventually going to get that Soulshine Diff on the Pug, but a lot of picks have gone the way of Ace High. Looks like 2 for a Tilted Waffle. Actually, a lot of picks. It looks like it's going to be more of a traded fight right there. Although Ace High does have the spawn kind of advantages, given how close the point is, but it looks like Argon actually going to be making a bit of a rebound. This fight is not over yet, and Cleary says that with a Kitsune Rush. Vex into the backlines. There he goes with a little Tracer action. Although a beat coming out from Ace High is not going to be enough to save Pug right there, who just got overclock canceled. And now Geometric looking to steamroll this in their favor after not even losing the fight. I mean, holy guacamole! This is some fantastic stuff coming out from Geometric.
Definitely. I feel like the second it looks like the fight is going to go one way, the teams are just so scrappy. You never can tell who is going to pull ahead until the end of the game, it feels like. Really great stalling out there by Geometric on the attack. It looked like they were going to go down, but a couple of really crucial picks there allowed them to continue their push, which was absolutely incredible. Ace High was able to play really strong defense, though. They did hold Geometric to overtime, which could prove to be a huge advantage here if they're able to play offense as solidly as we have seen them play previously.
Yeah, and another thing, just to touch up on the last fight, Vex on the Tracer went actually to that health pack room underneath the point, put a lot of pressure onto Geometric. But the thing about that, what Geometric did is not try and counter Vex anymore. They looked to just press as many advantages they could, as many abilities and opportunities they could onto all the other members of Ace High, and that eventually outweighed the value that Vex was performing. And so, especially when Geometric was then like ignoring him. I mean, yes, Tracer can be a phenomenal pick. But when you've got so much momentum, it's kind of like the Pharah lesson. I don't know what to say, but the Pharah kind of like duality, right? Where you can just ignore the Pharah and go for the rest of the team. And that's the kind of how it worked out in Geometric's favor. And that gave them just enough longevity to make that fight long as last as it did. And eventually it knocked Ace High out. Because Ace High, again, a very momentum team, and so when Geometric performs such a maneuver as that, I mean, but 2 snipers for Ace High. This is interesting.
Double sniper coming out from Ace High. Jin still staying on that Genji for a lot of good backline disruption, but Pug versus Tilted Waffle is going to be the fight to watch here. Whichever of those Widows is able to take out the other first basically can win the fight for their team, just because, again, the map potential, the pick potential. Tilted Waffle, though, taking out Hypno, which is going to be absolutely massive for the side of Geometric.
Yeah, no speed boost. You gotta actually kind of wait for that, especially if you're gonna run such a dive team in the open, right? I mean, yeah, okay, it looks like Hypno is gonna come back eventually, but now Ace High have a lot of vision of what Geometric are playing at. A lot of these high grounds, and you know that they can relapse onto the stumps really, really well. So Ace High looking to actually try and take this away, maybe go for a flank or something of the sort. But then both teams really just scouting each other out. Looks like eventually both tanks going to be going onto either side of the map, trying to make each other off sides. No team really finding enough picks here, though, to really complement these dives. Vex does find one on the Jin of all people. Pug was falling low, but Vex getting a lot of value. And now the rest of the front line for Ace High can clean it up as Vex goes onto this Tracer v Widow, a classic from the live cinematic. It's going to be on the very own Junkertown. Oh, that was beautiful.
With 1 hit point left, exactly 1 hit point. Oh my gosh. Tilted Waffle able to take out Vex, but distracting them just long enough that the rest of Ace High is able to clean up on the other teammates. Taking away that map pressure and taking away that pick pressure, even though they didn't secure the kill, was enough that Vex was able to secure the push for their team. Geometric is probably going to get a recontest here. It looks like they're setting up for it now, but Ace High looks like they're firmly in the favor of pushing it all the way.
Yeah, and with neither team having ultimates, looks like the kind of map advantage, again, is going to be the name of the game here. Long sight line coming up from Pug here, but a big bubble on the point. That's going to make sure to be able to actually take down Hypno here over here with that recontest. Really grouped up from Geometric, and really just kind of a lot of damage collapsing on one player, but a lot of damage collapsing onto the face of Tilted Waffle right there. A nice little Widow pick. Now it's going to be an even fight. Looking to try and, ultimate's coming up now for the side of Ace High. If they can keep themselves in this fight, looks like Infrasight's going to be popped. You can see him in the open, but now you can see him even better. No, and you can see him even better if 3 of them are in the top right of your screen. Pug getting a lot of value on this Widow, very uncontested, as Geometric was very forced to play around the rest of the members of Ace High.
Yeah, with being able to get that headshot onto, I believe, Tilted Waffle, who was on the Widow just early on, just gave them free reign. They were no longer being pressured and just able to, even though they didn't get as many flashy picks, they were able to put in a bunch of damage and just really allow their team to clean up and allowing them to cap first. We have 4 minutes for them to continue their push here on point B.
Yeah, and oh man, Geometric trying to take away this high ground. They really don't have any ultimates yet. They are gonna come up on a Blade, come up on a Primal, but I mean, Ace High is gonna be coming up on a Beat, just a bit faster than Wooly. Looks like a Bell is gonna cancel out that Pulse Bomb from Vex, although very well placed. So it looks like the damage is already done. Pug finds a pick on a Jin. Vex finds a pick on a Clear. You got no Kiriko and you got no Jin, especially when they were coming up on ultimates as well. Looks like the rest of Ace High is gonna press this, and holy smokes, that high ground that Geometric had looks like it was basically nothing.
Yeah, you absolutely have to use that Bell if you are, excuse me, Jim. Oh, that was a late pick. But you absolutely have to use that. But Ace High knew that they were going to use that, and as soon as that cooldown came out, they said, okay, the advantage is ours now. That said, Ace High down their Kiriko into this fight.
Yeah, a Beat and a Blade. They're just trying to get all this advantage back. They're trying to make a rebound of momentum. They know they have the map kind of advantage that can work in their favor, but it doesn't just work in your favor automatically. You got to make it work in your favor, and that's what they're doing. Even the chase is on, but Ace High, the kills are on point. I mean, they've taken down Jin, and they've also taken down Wooly, which is a lot of mobility down. Again, I've said it quite so many times, but the way that these teams decapitate each other is very, very methodical. They know what they're doing. They know how to do it. Looks like, a lot of damage onto Tilted Waffle right there. Going to force a recall from both Tracers. Jin's going to swap over to that Cassidy, but now Ultimate's coming up for Ace High, and these are ones that are looking like you can't just ignore.
Yeah, definitely. We see that pulse bomb. Vex has been getting a couple of sticks tonight. Hasn't always gotten a kill with them, but just getting their targets when they need them. Big coming up on that Kitsune Rush. Always a massive fight winner for teams here, but Cleary has one of their own to answer.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of members falling low for either side. Lucio's gonna fall, but Jin's gonna fall. A trade coming out. Now Vex. Now the Tracer Doomfist. This is this is the strat of the game, huh? And man, they're just gonna be getting those kills after that. And now, yeah, ultimates again. It wasn't even a lot of ultimates coming out from the side of Ace High. You still have Pugs' Overclock and Viggs' Kitsune Rush, which are arguably one of the highest value ultimates that have been presented to us so far.
Absolutely, and I want to point out what you said. That double dive of the Doomfist Tracer has been absolutely doing wonders for Ace High, but it looks like we're going to get one last touch fight from Geometric here.
Oh, but Wooly's down. A headshot onto the Lucio. That's crucial. And Pug finding another little overclock kill right there. And Pulse Bomb is going to be thrown in from Tilted Waffle, but Pug's going to find 3. Although, oh man, yeah, it's a very valiant. Oh my goodness gracious. Another 4K coming out from Pug.
Absolutely massive. And that's another, it looks like we're going to another pause, but I was going to say that's another thing about the Doomfist Tracer dive. When you have Pug on Sojourn in your backline, allowing them to just stand back completely unpressured and get those picks off, you have a very good chance of winning it. The Tracer and the Doomfist are getting picks of their own. The Lucio and the Kiriko are following them and doing a great job of providing support. But even if they weren't, even if it was sort of a stall-out fight there, with your Sojourn completely unpressured and as good as that Sojourn has been, it's looking so good for Ace High here, with 3 minutes to push it for Z.
Absolutely, yeah, no, the Sojourn taking advantage of the kind of space. So Doomfist and Tracer are ravaging the front line, right? And they're going all the way into the back line even. That gives a lot of mobility, not only like damage that Sojourn can do, but a lot of mobility for Sojourn. Sojourn can go onto heroes. They have the sight lines granted them because the pressure is relieved from them. You can start targeting the support characters. You can start targeting people who would help that Doomfist Tracer dive in a way that maybe it doesn't like kill somebody on its own, but if it even makes them low enough, then Tracer and Doomfist can just turn around their target and dive onto someone who got hit by that railgun. And it's kind of like a quick scoping Widow at that point. And when it's Junkertown, that works even to more of your favor.
Yeah, Sojourn has so much flexibility, right? They're a soldier with their left click and a Widow with their right click. So definitely good versatility, especially on this point. And especially when you're Ace High and you're honestly not having to go back to spawn too often. That said, Geometric, again, on defense, they are still looking pretty good. They are caught a little bit on their back foot, but maybe with the pause here, they're going to be able to kind of catch breath, gain some momentum, fight, like ult track and things like that, and really be able to put up the showing that we've seen them put up in the last few maps.
Yeah, Geometric, they won Circuit Royale, right? So, I mean, again, a very, very different map from Junkertown, but the kind of push concept. They know how to bounce back. They know how to stop them here, and it's like, well, we can still win. And so this game isn't really out yet. And moving into the third point, I believe. Yeah, moving to the third point. This is a very unique point. It's very different from Circuit Royale, where this high ground is more free to either team. Geometric have taken a big 180 from the comp they were running just 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, it looks like they're going... I'm not going to say bunker, because it's not really a bunker comp anymore, but it kind of feels that way, right? Like, you can have Tilted Waffle set up his Torb turret kind of in the back, or providing a separate angle for him. Has a lot of solo pick potential as well, and then with Turret on the Orisa, you have a lot of sustaining power.
Yeah, and I mean, that turret's going to have to replace Tilted Waffle for now, as Pig knocks him out of the fight. Looks like Wraith Form is going to be 4-star from Jin as well. Ace High, Pug on 1 HP in a dream, but Vex is going to be the one who's going to get put to sleep by Jin. Looks like kind of a more of a trade going on as we head into this kind of roundabout area. Ultimate's coming further side, but Vex is down, so it looks like Ace High is actually going to respect that. They got the point as far as they really wanted to, so they're just going to regroup, and they know how Geometric, they all swapped their team, so not a lot of ultimates. Yeah, Nova recognizes that, going to push their backline with a Meteor Strike, finds the Immortality Field. Looks like a beat's going to even further sustain this fight. Some picks are going to be trying to be made going the way of Ace High, but with both beats coming out from both sides, not a lot of deaths happening, especially even though a stick or a pulse comes out. Pug has this overclock that's going to be basically the only DPSLs at the moment. Jin just 5 moments away from Blossom of their own. Looks like Vex is going to fall though. Another pick onto Vex actually. They're going to regroup yet again, Ace High. But man, after losing one character, that fight, they pressed it phenomenally. They pressed it in every way that they should. It just didn't work out in their favor.
That late stagger onto Hypno is really going to hurt Ace High. They've only got 1 minute 15 seconds the rest of the way here. which is about a little bit less than 40 meters to go. Geometric is coming up on some really big ults and really big point stalling, point clearing ultimates. All three of the ultimates that they're coming up on can be used to really maintain that point presence and do a lot of damage. That said, Vig and Pug are coming up on their big Kitsune Rush and Overclock, and we have seen Pug absolutely have some massive Kitsune Rushes in the past, and they're sure going to need one here.
Oh, but we've also seen Jin pop off with these DPS ultimates. That's 2 down. You got 40 seconds left. Ace high. You got to regroup. That's a 3K for Jin. I mean, oh man, this is going to be intense, especially considering, again, the specific ultimates that Geometric has. Now, so the Terror Surge, that's a lot of area denial. And not only that, now you got Tilted Waffles area denial, which is ginormous, especially when you're playing such an area covering team such as Ace high. But, I mean, coming up on the Kitsune Rush, Geometric has no support ultimates. It's looking winnable.
Yeah, definitely. It could go either way at this point. We've got 16 seconds left to go. Wooly is down early, but Jin trades on to Hypno. Both Lucio's out of the fight.
Both supports down for Geometric though. Jin, looks like the Terror Surge is going to eventually come in. A lot of lava, but a lot of fancy footwork coming out from Ace High, keeping themselves in this fight. Yes, Turret is also in the fight. Yes, the Turret's also in the fight, but they're just mere moments away from approaching the cataclysmic end of Ace High's damage. And now Vex is going to be the only one in the lobby right now with an ultimate. This Pulse Bomb is going to be looking to be a critical factor here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that life and death hangs in the balance of it. Ace High has the opportunity to play around this map how they want. They have time, albeit not a lot. Geometric has the map, albeit not a lot. Vex scouting this out, looking like they're maybe wanting to stick Tilted Waffle. Throws it into the backline, is going to be dodged by Baptiste. Looks like now it's going to be a little 1v1. Toro falling very, very low for Tilted Waffle, so going to be down. Pug finding another pick onto the DPS. The Geometric are down for the damage right now. Oh my gosh, Churd trying to pick it all up just by pressing that point, pressing the backline. Gonna be forcing out an immortality field from Cleary, but it's gone in 2 seconds. Vig finds him. Wooly gonna be finding a pick onto the social and Pug of all people. A little trade now. We're gonna bop him off the point, but with a lot of damage gone, you're gonna have to have a lot of health now. Hypno gonna be bopping that beat, which is fantastic, coming in late in this fight, but now Wooly with an even later beat. That's going to be a lot of health coming in at a very unfortunate time for the side of Geometric. Ace High looking to try and find a pick here. This is so intense, but Churd going to be finding Vig. Looks like a swap from Pug is going to be onto the Tracer, trying to bully this Baptiste who's been getting so much value, being kept in this fight so much for so long. I'm even at a loss of words. The support from Geometric was just phenomenal. It shut down so much of the potential from Ace High right there, and it's going to shut them down in this map of Junkertown. That's going to be Geometric winning this game 4-3.
Wow, what an amazing game that was. It really came down to the wire on both sides. Geometric able to pull it out on the end. Just absolutely phenomenal gameplay coming out from both teams here. I'm honestly kind of at a loss for words. Both of these teams were just so much fun to watch and played so well. But at the end of the day, Geometric able to pull it out in the end. Bringing it home here on Junkertown and moving on to the finals where they will be playing, I believe Narwhal Connects is the one who ended up winning that last game.
Oh, that's going to be one game to watch. If Geometric played this way against Ace High, that truly was just a phenomenal match. I mean, it really came down to the wire. It came down past the wire, considering these teams were so back. Oh my god, fate has been sealed. Whoever chooses the map wins.
Whoever chooses the map wins. Kind of boiled down to that at the end. Geometric just barely eking it out over Ace High, but honestly, GG's to everybody on both of the teams. Just really phenomenal Overwatch. Had an absolute blast watching the cast. But coming into the end of the night here, McMissile, the next question that I have is, who is your player of the match?
There were so many. I can see why the community chose so many of these players from both of these teams. There really was. Just like, if I think too hard about it, I'll totally just forget. But I mean, I think it's got to be for me one of the supports, because we've seen a lot of the spotlights from a lot of the tanks, a lot of the DPS especially. But I think for the support, it's gonna pass. It's who it's gonna be. It's got to be Vig. It had so many DCs, and yet every single time came back. We never even had a reset of where the map was, because they were just so confident in their abilities. And holy smokes, when you've got a support player such as Vig, dishing out so many fantastic plays at such fantastic times with the rest of the team, what an enabler, what a support in every sense of the word.
Definitely. Lots of good plays coming out from Vig, for sure. For my player of the match, I'm going to have to give it to I feel like we saw very, very good DPS play across the board from both sides. But when her team needed it, Jin was I'm sorry, my apparently I cut out. Thank you, thank you, Phineas. I said Jhin. We saw really good DPS play from both sides. Just definitely excellent play all around. But when Geometric needed that edge, Jhin was able to give it to them. So very, very good play for them.
Absolutely, very, very well deserved. I mean, holy smokes, you were talking about an all-star nomination for that player, and I mean, especially it was very much more subtle in Junkertown. Not necessarily getting a lot of those ginormous several multi kills that we've seen time and time again from previous maps. It was just about the presence. It was about when these abilities were being traded. It was about when the damage was being applied, and when you're a DPS character, that's exactly how you want to be playing it. It's not just about like waiting until the perfect moment. It's about making that perfect moment yourself, and fantastic stuff.
But we have a lot of Overwatch left to play, not tonight, but coming forward later in the week. Tomorrow night will be the Transcendence Tier Grand Finals, which I will be casting yet again. I'm going to lose my voice, but it's going to be great. Thursday night, we'll have the Discord Tier Semifinals, and then next week, we will have the Discord and Harmony Tier Grand Finals, which, for your Harmony Tier, will be between Geometric and Narwhal Connects. Certainly not a game to miss. It's going to be a great one if it's anything like the game tonight. But with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us tonight for Overwatch Tranquility. I have been your analyst, BethCon2, joined by McMissile on Play-by-Play. Shout out to our producer, Phineas, and we honestly have had so many observers here. I'm not entirely sure whether I can see them all. I'm trying to scroll down in Discord to see. We've got Hippie, we've got Laggy, we've got Mountain Mango Mike, we've got Nick, and we've got Unfeatured on observers. So thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll see you again soon.